for an unforgettable day of glam, growth, and great vibes. Can't make it? We got you covered. Tune in to the Design Studio on July 5 from 1 to 3 p.m. It's the Garden Group Ladies Expo, the ultimate ladies' day out. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Garden Group and Stewart's Automotive Group.
And if you hear this, then go on better back, go on better knees.
It's the weekend and the youth are taking over the airwaves. Yes, we are the new voices and faces of the Talk Up You radio show. The voice of the Jamaican youth right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
After a busy week of work and school, come and wine with Jamaica's #1 youth radio show.
We're bringing you entertainment, fun facts, and staying true to youth development and advocacy.
Catch the action each and
Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Learn about smart betting strategies with AnyBet. Bet wisely, enjoy responsibly, and maximize your success. The temperature by AnyBet is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 30 out west in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, the JLP says the PNP's defense of Dr. Miranda Wellington's war comment is egregious.
Senator Lambert Brown withdraws his claims that PNP senators were told Parliament would be suspended before the tabling of the Integrity Commission's annual report.
Still no trace of 3 fishermen missing at sea.
Senate passes Road Traffic Amendment Act 2025.
Montego Bay Mayor Richard Vernon orders the removal of Free Gaza posters erected in Montego Bay.
We're not dealing with the messaging on it. We have no issue with that. That is okay. Erecting a sign means that you now have to deal with the regulations that deal with signs.
In news from the rest of the world, 6th generation TNT citizens now eligible for citizenship in India.
Hamas says it delivered positive response on Gaza ceasefire plan.
In headline sports, honors even after 2 days of second test between West Indies and Australia in Grenada.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, Jamaica Employers Federation President Wayne Chen is advising students entering tertiary institutions to research current market needs before selecting a field of study. Mr. Chen, along with President of UTEC, Dr. Kevin Brown, and Pro-Chancellor at the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, Professor Anthony Clayton, will join us.
In Public Opinion at 6:26, we ask which party campaign song is your favorite so far? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90 FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, the Palestine Solidarity Action Group is urging CARICOM heads of government to take decisive action against Israel to halt what it describes as genocide in Palestine. Member of Speak Out Jamaica, Robert Dabdoob, will join us.
At 7, members of the St. James Municipal Corporation were seen removing posters advertising Free Gaza protest. Mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon, says they were illegally placed. He'll join us.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Friday afternoon, it's Friday, July 4, 2025.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. Member of the JLP's Communication Task Force, Senator Marlon Morgan, says the opposition PNP's defense of Dr. Miranda Wellington's war comment is egregious.
The Jamaican people should consider the noticeable difference in the treatment of the two objectionable and unfortunate developments that took place on the respective political platforms this past Sunday. Less than 24 hours after the repugnant use of indecent language on a Jamaica Labour Party platform, an apology was tendered by the offending representative, and our party leader, some 48 hours later, reiterated via written communique the standards to which JLP candidates and representatives must adhere. The PNP, on the other hand, has not only refused to have its offending candidate apologize for her repugnant reference to war, but on the contrary, has actually sought to double down and defend the indefensible.
Dr. Wellington, the PNP caretaker for Southwest St. Elizabeth, told comrades at a PNP meeting in Frome, Westmoreland on Sunday that this is not going to be an easy victory, but she wanted them to know that she was prepared for war, and if it comes to war, then it will be war. The PNP jumped to her defense, criticizing the ruling JLP for amplifying the backlash she's facing. According to the PNP General Secretary, Dr. Dayton Campbell, Dr. Wellington's remarks were reflective of the pressures faced by women in politics. Senator Morgan is renewing his call for opposition leader Mark Golding to direct Dr. Wellington to apologize for her comments. He says the PNP's reaction to the matter differs greatly from the JLP's response to Everald Warmington's comments on another political platform.
For us in the Jamaica Labour Party, when we err or otherwise fall short of the established standards, there is accountability and an acknowledgement of error. What the public is seeing from the PNP, however, is an egregious and contemptuous display of arrogance and gaslighting. Based on Jamaica's past experience with political violence and the epidemic of violence that we continue to grapple with as a country, notwithstanding the ongoing significant reduction in murders, reference to war or any other violence inciting utterances cannot merely be dismissed as metaphorical use of language.
That's Senator Marlon Morgan, a member of the JLP's Communication Task Force.
Opposition Senator Lambert Brown has withdrawn his claims that PNP senators were told Parliament would be suspended before the tabling of the Integrity Commission's annual report. Senator Brown made the comment while speaking in the Senate last Friday as he attempted to rebut comments made by Senator Abka Fitz-Henley.
The member is misleading the Senate because the leader of government business in the House conveyed to Philip Paulwell, the leader of opposition business, that the parliamentary year would have come to an end last week. It is on that basis and that information on which Senator Scott Matley has spoken. The parliamentary secretary knows not of which he speaks.
His utterances followed those of opposition spokesman on Justice Senator Donna Scott Motley, who told a PNP meeting that the government was moving to block the tabling of the IC's annual report by bringing a premature end to the parliamentary term. However, those claims have since been dismissed by both Mr. Paulwell and Minister Bartlett. According to Paulwell, there was a misunderstanding between himself and Bartlett. He says Mr. Bartlett told him that the sectoral debate would end 1 week earlier on June 24 instead of July 1. Paulwell says Mr. Bartlett did not say that Parliament would be on recess. He says it was assumed that Parliament would not meet, but that was not communicated to him by Mr. Bartlett. The IC subsequently tabled their report in the Senate on Friday, June 27. Senate President Tom Tavares Finson called on Senator Brown to withdraw the claims after they were shown to be false.
But of course, a member of Parliament, Paulwell, came out to say, and leader of opposition business in the House, what I said is that the sectoral debate was ending 1 week earlier than planned on June 24 instead of July 2. But Minister Bartlett did not say that we would be in recess. So Senator Brown, I'm going to invite you to withdraw.
When I made the comment, I was operating under the assumption that the words were conveyed to Member Paulwell. I have since learned from Member Paulwell that it was an assumption that he communicated to me. I would therefore withdraw any statement which would reflect that Member Bartlett said the Parliament was going to be closing.
Opposition Senator Lambert Brown and before him Senate President Tom Tavares Finson. They were speaking in the Senate today.
The government's move to extend the fitness and registration certificates of motor vehicles is one step closer to becoming a reality. This after the Senate today approved the Road Traffic Amendment Act of 2025. The bill was first passed in the House of Representatives earlier this week. In piloting the bill in the Senate, Leader of Government Business Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith told the upper chamber that the changes will ease the burden of Jamaicans.
The amendments not only modernize the government's processes, but perhaps more importantly, they benefit motorists by providing longer periods of certificate validity, and they also reduce the costs to operate. Mr. President, the focus is clearly then, while not on revenue, on the improvement of service delivery and looking at how we integrate technology to better serve our citizens, to better allow them to access more efficient service delivery. The removal of the requirement to affix license decals, that sticker that changes color that no one can ever figure out how to get off your windscreen clean. Yes, that decal will be no more. But the decal is going to go away, and we're very happy to hear that.
Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, Leader of Government Business in the Senate. She says the changes will allow for the government to further digitize the island's traffic management systems. Opposition Senator Lambert Brown is questioning the readiness of the government to implement the changes.
Do I have confidence that when it comes to these electronic things that the government is ready? No. President, you'll recall body-worn cameras. That's still not ready. You're not ready with the body cam. But not only the body cam you're not ready with. You are not ready with, under the Road Traffic Act, the electronic ticketing. Even though that legislation was initially taken through the House in 2016, came back in this Parliament in 2019, 2022 we did the regulations. You're still not ready with the electronic ticketing. So a man run a stoplight and you told us that you'll be able to boom on the camera, send the ticket to the person, but you're not ready with that. So do I have confidence in what you're saying? Not at this point.
Senator Lambert Brown.
Government Senator Shireen Golding Campbell says the proposal for legislation to protect elderly Jamaicans is timely as the country's population is aging at rapid pace. She says the country must begin to prepare itself for the effect the demographic change will have on society.
Jamaica is aging. The facts are stark. Jamaica's population is aging faster than ever before, and we already have over 320,000 senior citizens, or about 12% of our population, and this number is rising steadily. The shift in demographics is irreversible, at least in the short term. This is not a trend that might happen, it's happening now. As a society, therefore, we must prepare ourselves for the impact of our population trends.
Senator Golding Campbell was speaking in the Senate as she opened the debate on the report of the Joint Select Committee appointed to consider private members' motion on aging and senior citizens. The senator says the dire situation facing some elderly Jamaicans calls for a reimagination of the care and protection of seniors.
Mr. President, many of our older persons live alone without the support of close family or affordable care. Others face abuse, neglect and exploitation, often by those they trust the most. Some live in substandard housing. Much more need better access to adequate health care or community support. The committee believes firmly that we must reimagine the care and well-being of older persons as a whole of society responsibility. Just as we protect children and promote youth development, we must now develop the systems and institutions that safeguard and uplift our older citizens.
Shireen Golding Campbell, Government Senator.
Meanwhile, Opposition Senator Professor Floyd Morris has called for broad public consultation on the proposed legislation for the care and protection of elderly Jamaicans.
What we would want to see when the legislation is formulated or drafted, we have a series of consultations with the citizens across the country. But I would want to see a capping of the time frame for that, because I don't want what happened with the Disabilities Act to end up happening with the senior citizens legislation, because there's a tendency for us to drag our feet with social legislation in Jamaica.
Professor Morris had initiated the process when he tabled a private member's motion calling for the legislation to protect senior citizens. He says now that the committee has completed its work, there must be no delay in drafting a bill and passing it into law.
Mr. President, I want us to ensure that we expedite this process and close the circuit in terms of legislation to protect the marginalized or vulnerable groups within our society. We have legislation to protect our children. We have legislation to protect persons with disabilities. We have legislation to protect our women. We need to close the circuit by enacting the legislation to protect senior citizens.
Professor Floyd Morris, opposition senator. You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
It's IQ Optical's sizzling summer sale. For this month only, get 50% off lenses when you purchase a frame. Kids get free lenses with a purchase of a frame. Make the intelligent choice with IQ Optical. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is...
It's 15 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 out west in Montego Bay.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Continuing the news. Today marks 1 week since 3 fishermen went missing at sea, and still there's no trace of them, not even a shred of evidence. The missing men have been identified as 71-year-old Leston Duncan Sr., also known as Fat Jaw, his 29-year-old son Leston Duncan Jr., nicknamed Tat, and their 24-year-old cousin Kimarley Nelson, who goes by the name Quick. As Robin Williams reports in this follow-up, the family remains hopeful, believing the men are still alive but in urgent need of help.
The family of both the Duncans and the Nelson, we are just here sitting down, looking, telling them to come home, asking the sea to bring them home wherever they are. Let somebody out there see them, whether a ship or an ex-colleague, something, someone, something. They are still alive. That's my feeling. They are still alive, but they need help.
Simone Duffus, the daughter of fisherman Leston Duncan Sr., she spoke with her news team on Friday while seated by the seaside near the Marine Police Division station at the Kingston waterfront, the usual docking location for the boat used by her father, brother, and cousin. The men reportedly left that location around 4:30 a.m. on Friday, June 27. Miss Duffus says it's highly unusual for her father to go out and not make contact with the family. She shares that the past few days have been extremely difficult, filled with uncertainty and fear.
Can't sleep, you can't eat, you just have to be there praying and asking God to just show something, do something for us. You know, you don't want to question it, but yeah, just the human part of us gonna ask. I want to know what went wrong. This is the first time my father ever out there, and to say either run out of gas or the engine fail and he don't contact somebody. That's not him. This is not him. 1 week later and still nothing. This is not my daughter.
Despite ongoing search efforts, Ms. Duffus says the Marine Police, Jamaica Defence Force JDF Coast Guard, and the JDF Air Wing have so far found no trace of her loved ones. She fears the men may no longer be in Jamaican waters. She's questioning whether authorities in neighboring countries have been alerted to keep watch. In the meantime, sources indicate the men were about 2 miles off the coast of Port Royal when they disappeared. This is an area routinely patrolled by the Marine Police. Searches in the area are still underway. Robianne Williams for Nationwide News.
Nationwide News understands that an investigation is underway following a shooting incident inside the Central Village Police Station in St. Catherine, which left 2 policemen injured on Friday. One officer was shot in the hand and the other sustained a gunshot wound to the leg. Reports indicate that the firearm discharged during a weapon handover process. The police have not yet issued an official statement on the incident.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute. 6th generation of the Indian diaspora in Trinidad and Tobago will now be eligible to apply for Overseas Citizenship of India, OCI. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the move Thursday night during his official visit to the Twin Island Republic. OCI is a form of permanent residency available to people of Indian origin who have acquired citizenship in another country. It allows them to live, work, and travel freely in India, with some exceptions. Under the new measure, applications can be made at the Indian High Commission in Port of Spain once documentation tracing ancestry is provided. Modi is on a 2-day state visit to Trinidad and Tobago. During his visit, he'll receive the Order of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the nation's highest national award.
Hamas says it has delivered a positive response to mediators on the latest proposal for a new Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal. The proposal was put forward by the United States. On Friday, Hamas said it was ready to enter immediately into a round of negotiations. However, the group has not confirmed if it will accept the proposals just yet. Earlier today, Donald Trump said he expected Hamas to respond within a day. He said earlier this week that Israel had accepted the conditions necessary for a 60-day ceasefire, during which the parties would work to end the 20-month war. The proposal is believed to include the staggered release of 10 living Israeli hostages and the bodies of 18 other hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli jails. 50 hostages are still being held in Gaza, at least 20 of whom are believed to be alive.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the JLP says the PNP's defense of Dr. Miranda Wellington's war comment is egregious.
Senator Lambert Brown withdraws his claims that PNP senators were told Parliament would be suspended before the tabling of the Integrity Commission's annual report.
There's still no trace of 3 fishermen missing at sea. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Roby Ann Williams.
Listeners, you can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next. The headlines at 6.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. When stumps were drawn to close the second day, Australia, well, let's do this properly. The West Indies and Australia are currently engaged in a bruising contest after 2 days of the second cricket test at the National Stadium in St. George's, Grenada. When stumps were drawn to close the second day, Australia were 12 for 2 in their second innings, an overall lead of 45 with Jayden Seales bagging both wickets. Earlier, the West Indies staged a late fight back before being bowled out for 253 as they responded to Australia's first innings 286. Brandon King top scored with 75, his first test half century. John Campbell 40 and Shamar Joseph 29. Nathan Lyon bagged a 3 for 79, while there were 2 wickets apiece for captain Pat Cummins and Josh Hazelwood. West Indies batting consultant Floyd Reefer admits the bowlers are carrying the bulk of the weight, but he believes it's a matter of time before the batting clicks.
You see the batters below par, but this is a new batting lineup. You look at our batters, John Campbell being away from Test cricket for a while. So is Shea Hope and Ross and Chase. Then you have King on debut. So starting the second game, Casey Curtis new. So I think that this is probably the best batting lineup we can have. It's just a matter of time. You know, it will take time for these fellas to click and get the pace and the rhythm of Test cricket.
That's Floyd Reefer. Jamie Smith and Harry Brook produced a stunning England fight back, but India remained in a dominant position. At the end of the third day of the second test at Edgbaston, Smith counter-attacked after Joe Root and Ben Stokes fell in consecutive deliveries in the second over of the day, racing to an 80-ball century and going on to make a supreme 184 not out. He shared in an epic partnership of 303 with Brook, who made a more measured yet equally as crucial 158 to haul England back into the contest. India came roaring back with the second new ball, however, dismissing Brook and sweeping aside the lower order as the final 5 England wickets fell for just 20 runs. The hosts were all out for 407, with a fired-up Mohammad Siraj taking 6 for 70. That meant India took a big first innings lead of 180 and add to their second innings 64 for 1. They now enjoy an overall lead of 244. National champion Kishane Thompson says he'll not count out breaking the stadium record when he runs in the men's 100 meters at the 50th staging of the Prefontaine Classic, the 9th stop in the Wonder Diamond League Series on Saturday at Hayward Stadium, University of Oregon. The record of 9.80 seconds was set by fellow Jamaican and former Vertex star Steve Mullings in 2011.
I'm not feeling any discomforts or being tired. I'm ready. Anything is possible, but I won't jinx it for the bad nor the good. I just gotta come out there, execute, do my best, enjoy myself.
Thompson will line up against countryman Akeem Blake, Zarnell Hughes, Christian Coleman and Trayvon Brommel. 24-year-old Thompson says getting the chance to run against some of the best in the world could be a good test to where he's at.
It's a good feeling. For me, it's just, to always go out there and enjoy myself in a high level of competition and just being consistently improving.
Kishane Thompson. 9 other Jamaicans are down to compete. Akeelia Smith in the women's long jump. Akira Nugent and Danielle Williams, the world champion, will face a starter in the 100 meters hurdles. Malik James King and Destiny Wilson are registered for the men's 400 meters hurdles. Dejani Oakley will be the Jamaican standard bearer in the women's 400 meters. Rajindra Campbell will compete in the men's shot put. Brian Lavelle, the national 200 meters champion back-to-back, will contest his pet event, the men's 200 meters, and the newly minted national 100 meters champion Tina Clayton will feature in the women's 100 meters. Liverpool striker Diogo Jota, who perished along with his brother Andre Silva in a motor vehicle crash on Thursday, will be buried on Saturday in Portugal. Crowds mourn the former Portuguese international in his hometown on Friday to pay their respects. Portugal's president, stars from the national team and fans from across the country gathered in the small town of Gunduma on the outskirts of from Porto, where the pair grew up. Their parents, grandfather, and other family members held a private vigil at a chapel in the town before it was open to the public for a wake. The pair, both football players, with Andre playing in Portugal's second division, were killed after the Lamborghini they were traveling in crashed in the Spanish province of Zamora. Meanwhile, forward Mohamed Salah said it is going to be extremely difficult to accept the death of both players. Jota died in the car crash, as we mentioned yesterday. Salah said, "I'm truly lost for words." He joined Liverpool in 2017. He continued, "Until yesterday, I never thought there'd be something that would frighten me of going back to Liverpool after the break. Teammates come and teammates go, but not like this." He says it's going to be extremely difficult to accept that Diogo Jota won't be there when he gets back to Anfield. Ahead of the 66th running of the Jamaica St. Leger at Caymanas Park on Sunday, Solomon Sharp, chairman of the Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited, has revealed that the excitement is almost fever pitch amongst the horse racing community. Sharp, while speaking with Nationwide Sports today, shared that there should be a lot of surprises amongst the thoroughbreds on the day.
In the last 2 days, I've gotten calls from different connections, chit-chatting, and everybody seems confident that they're going to win. One of the other real birds told me that there's no way that the filly will lose, and that Roman stuck on her, so she won't lose. But so going in, you easily have about 6 or 7 horses that think they're the one.
Well, the 2025 running of the St. Leger, which is the second jewel in the local Triple Crown, will be contested amongst 14 of the best thoroughbreds over 10 furlongs. It will see the likes of the 1,000 Guinness winner, Burning Hedge, and the 2,000 Guinness winner, Sensational Soul. And before we go, well, let's just put a bit of clarity to this. Someone on the YouTube channel, Nats Hutchinson, is asking why we mention Rajinder Campbell competing at Prefontaine tomorrow, because he's leaving the country. Well, he's not representing any country when you run or compete on the circuit. You only represent the country when it's a world championship, so the indoors are out, or the Olympic Games. So yes, Rajinder Campbell is competing at the Prefontaine, but he's not competing as a representative of any nation, yeah? I hope that explains it to you. That's at sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade. Bosco Bell St. Mary is your newest gateway to Miami. Daily flights are available for your convenience. The temperature brought to you by the Airport Authority of Jamaica is
30 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 28 in the western city, Montego Bay.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Tired of waiting for your ride? Want safety and peace of mind on every journey? Amber On Time is here! With verified drivers, real-time vehicle tracking, and panic button with armed security response, your safety is our priority. Reliable service, easy booking, premium experience, it's all just a tap away. Download Amber On Time today.
Residents of Portmore, you spoke and we listened. JPS is returning to the Sunshine City. Starting July 2025, you'll be able to visit the My JPS Care Hub inside Fontana Portmore. Get answers to queries related to billing, payment, prepaid electricity, service requests, and more. Our agents will be on the ground to ensure you are in and out in no time. Look out for the My JPS Care Hub in Fontana Portmore, coming this July. JPS, powering what matters.
Spring into style with Unique Living. Upgrade your home with our extensive range of products. Get sleek shower panels, stylish vanities, LED and non-LED mirrors, plus kitchen sinks, closet solutions, ceiling fans, and more. Available in various finishes and sizes. Visit shop number 630 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10. Call 876-755-3661 or visit our website at www.uniquelivingja.com. Don't wait to spring into style with Unique Living. living.
Attention registered voters! Remember to collect your renewed voter ID card before the upcoming general election. If you registered to vote in 2016 or after and did not get your new ID card, it may have been automatically renewed. Simply visit your EOJ constituency office to collect your voter ID card. Contact the Electoral Office of Jamaica at 888-991-VOTE or 922-0425-9 for more information.
Residents of Portmore, you spoke and we listened. JPS is returning to the Sunshine City. Starting July 2025, you'll be able to visit the My JPS Care Hub inside Fontana Portmore. Get answers to queries related to billing, payment, prepaid electricity, service requests, and more. Our agents will be on the ground to ensure you are in and out in no time. Look out for the My JPS Care Hub in Fontana Portmore, coming this July. JPS, powering what matters.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Ladies, tune in to the Design Studio on July 5 from 1 to 3 p.m. as we broadcast live from the Garden Group Ladies Expo. Come to Jamaica's ultimate Ladies' Day at the National Arena. Experience over 100 exhibitors featuring fashion, beauty, food and wine tastings, health, finance, career tips, live entertainment, and more. Gather your girlfriends for an unforgettable day of glam, growth, and great vibes. Can't make it? We got you covered. Tune in to the Design Studio on July 5 from 1 to 3 p.m. It's the Garden Group Ladies Expo, the ultimate Ladies' Day Out. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Garden Group and Stewart's Automotive Group.
And if you hear this sound like go on better back, go on better knees.
Welcome back. It's 5:35 p.m. here in Kingston, Jamaica, and you're with us nationwide at 5, and we are going to head into our cover story. Of course, I'm your host, Professor Donna Hope, and with me is our co-host joining us.
Aaron Reed.
Hi,
top of the afternoon to you, Professor Hope, and top of the afternoon to our listeners on the 90 FM band, and of course our viewers on YouTube. How are you, Prof?
I am doing very well and happy to see you, Tyrone. How is everything on your end?
Wonderful. Not too shabby for a middle-aged guy, so I give God thanks, man.
Well, I'm not going to talk about age. I just work with it. But of course, we have a great time lined up for the rest of the program. And you're going to start off, of course, by talking a little bit about the story that broke today in one of our newspapers, the Jamaica Gleaner, coming out of the research done, the social and economic studies, the survey of living conditions, I think, that study. I'm trying to remember the actual one. But Wayne Chen was quoted as talking about the role that tertiary education plays, and the highlight was that students entering tertiary education institutions were being urged to research the current market needs before selecting a field of study. And so coming out of that, he advised students entering tertiary institutions to research current market needs before selecting a field of study. His recommendation follows the data from that Economic and Social Survey, Jamaica 2024, that says only 16%, or approximately 234,300 persons in the country's labor force actually possess university degrees.
Mr. Chen, also listeners and viewers emphasize the importance of acquiring certified marketable skills and lifelong learning to meet the demands of the workforce. The Jamaica Tertiary Education Commission reported an increase in the total enrollment, which was fewer than 100 students across 34 institutions in 2024-2025. Yes, that academic year. So I read it for you again. The Jamaica Tertiary Education Commission reported an increase in the total enrollment, which was fewer than 100 students across 34 institutions in the 2024-2025 academic year.
So we're going to be joined now by, of course, Wayne Chen, President of Jamaica's Employers Federation, the President of UTEC, Dr. Kevin Brown, and the Pro Vice Chancellor and International Ambassador of the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, Professor Anthony Clayton. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Welcome to Nationwide at 5.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. And you know, I'm having listened to some of the comments. I heard people speaking about this issue today and reading, as I normally do, the comments on Instagram, on Facebook, around that particular article. Many persons, I think, ran more with the heading and the headline, Wayne Chen, than the substance of your own conversation and the kind of information that was published in the newspaper article, in the Gleaner, and also that came out in the research. But I think many persons were concerned about getting a university degree and making sure that it aligned with the market trends in Jamaica today and maybe in the region. So I'm putting the question to Dr. Brown as the president of UTEC. How can educators ensure that the programs that they are putting forward actually align with the market trends currently, the needs and the demands of the market out there?
Thank you. Well, good evening to everyone. Well, it's a good time to be having this conversation, but this trend, as reported, has been long-standing in terms of the tertiary education framework and data amongst the workforce. For us at UTEC, we have always prided ourselves on producing work-ready graduates, and we have always ensured for many years now that our curriculum aligns with industry, the needs of industry, aligns with the workforce needs of Jamaica. And that's why we have always been a very specialized STEM-focused institution. All our courses have strong partnerships and relationships with industry, whether it's a business school, engineering, computing. All these courses have industrial advisory boards. So these are boards that have business people like Mr. Chen who sit on them and advise us as to the needs of industry, and we then shape our curriculum accordingly. But the other thing about UTEC is that we are proudly a hands-on university. So we have always and will continue to combine the academic theory with practical application. Almost every degree discipline at UTEC requires a compulsory internship in terms of number of hours spent working in industry. So we have always been focused on the work readiness of our graduates and meeting the needs of the economy, right? And I think for us now, it's just trying to ensure that we are future ready, because there's a lot of technological change happening, especially around the artificial intelligence and otherwise. And it's just being able now to have an agile enough curriculum to meet these market needs. That's one of our challenges as we speak. But I wanted to make it clear that from our perspective, certainly from my opinion, we don't have enough tertiary education degree holders in Jamaica. I think there is still a need for more young people leaving high school to enter tertiary education, to matriculate into tertiary education. So although I agree with Mr. Chen that what they choose to pursue in high school must be relevant to the workforce, we need more of them to be matriculating. I think it's about 27% at the moment.
Just about 26 to 27%, yes.
Right. If you look at any developed country or country that has or is doing well economically, even little Singapore, the number of tertiary educated citizens is far greater than Jamaica. In most cases, reaching around 50%. So we still have some way to go. And although we're talking about tertiary education, the truth of the matter is it starts before you get to the universities.
Definitely.
Because it's a pipeline. And if you don't have enough students getting, for example, in the case of UTEC, if you don't have enough students pursuing STEM CSEC subjects and getting the appropriate grades, then we're going to have a problem there. So, and I'll end by saying that we have the aspiration to grow our enrollment numbers, and they have an issue around capacity and the funding to increase the infrastructure required to do that. So there are some challenges there as well.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. And I know Tyrone wants to bring a point in. Please go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, actually, I'm just going down that line that Dr. Brown is on because, Wayne Chen, that's the first thing that jumped out at me when I looked at this article. When the quoting of that percentage there, and I'm trying to bring it up here on my screen. I made a question of it. With only 16% of approximately 234,300 individuals in the country's labor force possessing university degrees. Isn't a major part of the problem what we just heard there from Doc about the need to remove whatever the hindrances and obstacles are to our people actually accessing post-secondary or tertiary studies. We need to up that number even as we try to get people to look at the trends and see what's needed in the market and tailor the studies to that end. Pick your career path from that. What's causing more of our people to not pursue tertiary education? That's a conundrum that it appears we haven't solved as yet, Wayne Chen.
One moment, and before we bring in Wayne Chen, I think we need to go to the break. But of course, this is a question that we all have as persons who have been or are involved in tertiary education that we have to put forward as we move through. So would you hold the point, and we're going to take a quick break and come back with the time signal. Thank you.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
5:44 p.m.
Burn Chuck fried chicken always ready. Burn Chuck, original crispy. Burn Chuck, Cajun spicy. Burn Chuck, a barbecue. Burn Chuck, we are go a Burn Chuck.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Kingston, Montego Bay, and Ocho Rios is
30 degrees in Kingston, 28 degrees in Montego Bay and Ocho Rios.
We have, as a people, been fed a steady diet of information, oftentimes untrue, that nothing nah go on. This is probably the first government that almost every single day of the week could have a groundbreaking, a handing over, a contract signing, a commissioning, because enough things are going on in Jamaica under the Andrew Holness-led government. Enough things. So when they come to you with the negativity about nothing nah go on, you may not see what is happening. So when you see groundbreaking, we have been working 2 years, 3 years before bringing it through a process, and we have all kinds of projects, not in a pipeline. Our projects are on a track, so we have a train line of projects to come.
This message is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Want to reduce your high electricity bills? Then Peak Energy has the solution for you. From grid-tied to hybrid solar inverters with full lithium-ion battery pack. Installation and maintenance packages available. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hill, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Welcome back, Nationwide at 5, and we are in our cover story, of course, looking at the conversations around workforce preparation, the tertiary education statistics, and of course, before the break, Tyrone really posed a question to Wayne Chen directly. Well, let's bring Wayne into the conversation. Wayne Chen, your response?
Thanks, Professor Hope. I'll start by saying this. Although I'm president of the Jamaica Employers Federation, my concern is not just about finding workers for existing businesses or finding entrepreneurs. Yes. It is also about creating economic opportunities for all our people, young, old, in the workforce, out of the workforce. And the fact is that low rate of penetration of tertiary degrees in our population is surely cause for concern, because you're not going to build a highly productive economy on relatively low skills. And this is in the context where just over 40% of our workforce have certified skills, which suggests that more than half our workforce have no certified skills at all, which is not to say they don't have skills, they're just not certified. And it plays out. Jamaica's rate of productivity growth is among the third lowest in the entire Western Hemisphere. It plays out very negatively for our population and for our standard, our pace of development. And it's ironic, it's almost painful when we see how the education crisis plays out. We see it in the relatively low levels of math passes and English passes, and the number of our high school graduates who are able to matriculate into tertiary education. We see it playing out in the low numbers of STEM teachers in our high schools when we say we want to build a higher. STEM is one of the ways forward. Even if we say STEAM, because I'm a closeted poet and I believe that,
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Wayne. Yes, I wanted the A to come in.
Yes,
Thank you. Yes.
Explore the other creative side.
Yes.
Professor Hope. So I'm not out there saying we just must make better automatons, that we must just make better workers. We must create better educated people, young and old, to take advantage of the opportunities and face the challenges in the future of work. And the future of work is now. I know many young Jamaicans who have been trained and are now enjoying working in the virtual economy, living in Jamaica, setting their own hours, earning in US dollars, earning in euros, earning in bitcoins for all I know, because they have been educated to do that. And it pains me to know that we are not educating more to do that. I'm not saying that every young Jamaican must dream to go and work in a hotel or a factory. I'm saying that we must train our people in a way that they can access the opportunities that are out there and adapt to a fast-changing environment and meet their own needs of economic independence.
Indeed.
How do we do that? Indeed. We need to fix from early childhood up. But even as we fix, it also pains me to see a sort of half-truth being sold where there's a sense of entitlement. If I have a degree, whatever that degree is, I'm suddenly going to find a job that makes maximum use of it. And it's painful to witness, because there is so much more that we have to know to reach that state of economic independence, to make sure that we have that personal productivity, to attain the Jamaican dream, whether it's a car, a home, being able to raise a family and educate our children properly. We need to, I don't want to say it takes cash to care, but we need to at least have a clear line of sight as to how we're going to do that.
Indeed, Wayne. Indeed, Wayne Chen. And one of the things that we need, I have been involved in tertiary education, I have to say this, for 29 years, since I taught my first tutorial at the Mona campus. And I've taught at the School of Continuing Studies, UWI. I've taught at UCC, IMS, UCC. I have taught at the University of the West Indies, at George Mason University. I've taught evening class, morning class, weekend class, night class, day classes. I teach online. I teach all over because of my belief in the value of education, particularly tertiary education, in moving people not just into better jobs, but also in the way their minds work on behalf of the country. People who are highly educated tend to make better citizens, more productive citizens. And so one of the things that I saw, and I'm talking now to Professor Clayton about the statistics, which I know from working on the ground, is that the Jamaicans who are educated at the tertiary level or registered at the tertiary level is 2/3 women and 1/3 men. Of that figure, that has been an ongoing discussion since I was an undergraduate at the UWI Mona, where we have this strong imbalance in who goes forward for tertiary education, and then it comes out at the end of the other end of the pipeline who becomes more placed and positioned in these STEM roles that we are talking about. Professor Clayton, as a colleague, University of the West Indies, but also now PV's Pro-Chancellor and International Ambassador at the UCC, the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, which we have worked at for quite a few years. What are your thoughts, in a lot of ways, on the conversation we are having about readiness, but also what obtains in terms of how our citizens, Jamaicans, access tertiary education for their own development, but also for workforce readiness?
Right. Well, we're going into a time of probably unprecedented technological change.
Yes.
And the challenge for us as educators is that we're really not sure yet what we should be teaching. And there's a real risk that if we simply try and push more people into higher education, that will be educating people in sectors which are about to become redundant.
Yes.
There's a very recent study by the UN which concluded that by 2050, the world's workforce will be about 6 billion people, and of that group, only 1 billion will be working in a job that exists today.
Mm-hmm.
Now that means that we need to be thinking not just about putting more people into higher education, but what skill sets we're trying to impart. Now, the reason why this is so difficult is that we're still not sure about some of the dimensions of change.
Yes.
There was a study by the European Commission that just looked at the estimates of the jobs that are going to be affected by AI over the next 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they found that the estimates ranged from a net loss of 2 billion jobs globally to a net gain of 375 million jobs. And the reason where we see a huge a range like that, it tells us that there's a lot of uncertainty as to which jobs will disappear,
yes,
which jobs will continue to exist but in a different form, and where the new jobs are likely to be created. And although there's a lot of discussion about AI, it's very important to remember that it's not just AI. AI is only one of the dimensions of change. That we're also talking about bioinformatics, new materials science, molecular engineering, which are also going to have similarly radical transformations in many sectors of the economy. So we've never had to contend with this level of uncertainty before. My guess is that what we're going to be looking for is some rather different skill sets. People are going to have to be good at more than one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, a lot of countries have thought that if they just produce more STEM or STEAM graduates, all will be well. But over the last 2 years, the rate of job creation in the technology sectors has actually been falling, partly because we may have actually produced too many STEAM graduates, and partly because AI is now being used to do a lot of the basic coding that was the entry for STEAM graduates into the technology sector. So we need to be a little bit more strategic about which courses we're offering. My guess would be you need to be STEAM literate, but you can't just be STEAM literate. You're going to have to be good at something else as well, some other area of possibly one of the creative sectors or one of the other science sectors. You're also going to have, I think, a much higher level of emotional intelligence. Be very good at networking and working in teams and problem solving. And these are skills which we have not placed sufficient emphasis on in the past. This really calls for quite a radical rethink of what the process and purpose of higher education is. This is, incidentally, a trend which I think may actually exacerbate the gender difference that you were just talking about.
Definitely, yes. Yes, indeed.
Are any members of the panel bullish on us actually solving this problem in the medium to long term? I mean, we've been at it for a little while. We've been talking this problem of increasing tertiary enrollment for some time. Beginning with you,
I think
Dr. Brown.
we have a few minutes left. We only probably can get maybe a quick comment from each of our panelists.
Dr.
Yes.
Brown, yes, on it. Are you bullish? Are you bullish on us solving this problem?
Yes, we are at UTEC bullish regarding the problem that needs to be solved. And for us, we are trying to increase enrollment by diversifying the pathways into UTEC, right? So, it's not just going to be only about having 5 CSEC and or CAPE subjects. We are looking at students with City and Guilds. We're looking at students from Hart NSTA. We're looking at students with no subjects, right? So we're trying to widen the pathways that they can get into UTEC and then ensure that we have the appropriate bridging programs to ensure that they succeed when they get here. But what I would say, though, just regarding the previous remarks, we talk about AI and the changing job sector. Look, I mean, there are certain careers that are going nowhere fast. We will always need physicians, in my opinion, right? In one shape or the other. We'll need pharmacists. We'll need engineers. There are certain roles that we know will be constant throughout time. It's just that technology may change how they work, but the roles will be required. And that's why for us at UTEC, because we're so specialized in what we think are core professions that every economy needs, especially Jamaica, we just want to grow those numbers and ensure that the students have a curriculum that, of course, is future-proof. I agree with the previous speaker that we do need to ensure that they can also be critical thinkers, have appropriate emotional intelligence, and a suite of soft skills. But we believe that the course of study that we offer will be here for time eternity, right? Because that's just how it is. So, in terms of the suitability of students pursuing the tertiary courses offered by our university, we believe that the key thing for us now is just to make sure the curriculum is appropriate based on the technological changes happening out there.
And we are out of time, gentlemen. Dr. Brown, we are actually out of time. We have come to the end of the cover story. But thank you so much. And remember, at the University of the West Indies, we continue to innovate, which is where I am. And you're all welcome to join us there as well. But thank you so much, gentlemen, for our story this evening. Cover story.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Wayne Chen, Dr. Kevin Brown, and, of course, Professor Anthony Clayton. We're going to take our break and come back with headlines. Stay with us.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6 o'clock.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Member of the JLP's Communication Task Force, Senator Marlon Morgan, says the opposition PNP's defense of Dr. Miranda Wellington's war comment is egregious.
The Jamaican people should consider the noticeable difference in the treatment of the two objectionable and unfortunate developments that took place on the respective political platforms this past Sunday. Less than 24 hours after the repugnant use of indecent language on a Jamaica Labour Party platform, an apology was tendered by the offending representative, and our party leader, some 48 hours later, reiterated via written communique the standards to which JLP candidates and representatives must adhere. The PNP, on the other hand, has not only refused to have its offending candidate apologize for her repugnant reference to war, but on the contrary, has actually sought to double down and defend the indefensible.
Dr. Wellington, the PNP caretaker for Southwest St. Elizabeth, made the comment at a political meeting on Sunday. The PNP jumped to her defense, criticizing the ruling JLP for amplifying the backlash she's facing. But Senator Morgan is renewing his call for opposition leader Mark Goling to direct Dr. Wellington to apologize for her comments.
For us in the Jamaica Labour Party, when we err or otherwise fall short of the established standards, there is accountability and an acknowledgement of error. What the public is seeing from the PNP, however, is an egregious and contemptuous display of arrogance and gaslighting. Based on Jamaica's past experience with political violence and the epidemic of violence that we continue to grapple with as a country, notwithstanding the ongoing significant reduction in murders, reference to war or any other violence inciting utterances cannot merely be dismissed as metaphorical use of language.
Senator Marlon Morgan, member of the JLP's Communication Task Force. Mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon, has confirmed that several posters mounted in the town by the Palestine Solidarity Action Group were removed by the St. James Municipal Corporation. The signs, which read "Free Gaza," were erected as part of plans by the group to stage a peaceful protest this Sunday, July 6. Mayor Vernon says the signs were illegally erected.
So yesterday it was brought to our attention that there were some political messages in the form of signs erected along the A1 main road within the vicinity of Sangsters International Airport, and we did an investigation and noted that there were several breaches where the erection of those signs are concerned. One having to do with no consent deemed by the law for them to be erected there. The other, no consent given by the local authority for them to be erected there. And a third, they should not place those signs or any signs, a matter of fact, along the highway in the public space on trees. So we noted those. We visited the area this morning and have them removed.
The Palestine Solidarity Action Group says the planned protest is against the mass genocide and starvation of the Palestinian people in Gaza. It says it also aims at petitioning the CARICOM heads of government to take action against Israel's attack on Palestine. CARICOM is set to host its 49th meeting with heads of government on July 6 to 8 at the Montego Bay Convention Center. Mayor Vernon says since the posters were taken down, the responsible group has reached out to the municipality on erecting them within the legal framework.
Since they have been removed, the persons, I believe, who are behind it, they reach out to me personally pertaining to the fees associated with it, the fine associated with it, and I believe they're also now at the municipal corporation based on the information that I received from the Commercial Services Department that they came in to pay for signs to be erected in the designated area. What is on it is of no concern to us. The fact that there are signs is what is of important where this matter is concerned.
Richard Vernon, Mayor of Montego Bay. Government Senator Shireen Golding Campbell says the proposal for legislation to protect elderly Jamaicans is timely as the country's population is aging at a rapid pace. She says the country must begin to prepare itself for the effect the demographic change will have on society.
Jamaica is aging. The facts are stark. Jamaica's population is aging faster than ever before, and we already have over 320,000 senior citizens, or about 12% of our population, and this number is rising steadily. The shift in demographics is irreversible, at least in the short term. This is not a trend that might happen, it's happening now. As a society, therefore, we must prepare ourselves for the impact of our population trends.
Senator Golding Campbell was speaking in the Senate as she opened the debate on the report of the Joint Select Committee appointed to consider a private member's motion on aging and senior citizens. The senator says the dire situation facing some elderly Jamaicans calls for a reimagination of the care and protection of seniors.
Mr. President, many of our older persons live alone without the support of close family or affordable care. Others face abuse, neglect, and exploitation, often by those they trust the most. Some live in substandard housing. Much more need better access to adequate health care or community support. The committee believes firmly that we must reimagine the care and well-being of older persons as a whole of society responsibility. Just as we protect children and promote youth development, we must now develop the systems and institutions that safeguard and uplift our older citizens.
Shireen Golding Campbell, government senator. Meanwhile, opposition Senator Professor Floyd Morris has called for broad public consultation on the proposed legislation for the care and protection of elderly Jamaicans. He made the comment while addressing the debate on the report of the Joint Select Committee, which considered the issue.
What we would want to see when the legislation is formulated or drafted, we have a series of consultations with the citizens across the country. But I would want to see a capping of the time frame for that, because I don't want what happened with the Disabilities Act to end up happening with the senior citizens legislation, because there's a tendency for us to drag our feet with social legislation in Jamaica.
Professor Floyd Morris, opposition senator. Morris had initiated the process when he tabled a private member's motion calling for the legislation to protect senior citizens. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Smichael. Sports is next.
As we enter the peak of hurricane season, don't let downtime disrupt your business. Digicel Business offers secure cloud storage and Jamaica's only Tier 3 certified data center, built to withstand storms and safeguard your data. With 24/7 monitoring, local hosting, and 100% uptime, your operations stay protected no matter the weather. Prepare now, protect what matters. Call Digicel Business Solutions at 876-469-2677 or visit digicelbusiness.com. Digicel Business Solutions. Stay online, stay protected.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
You want to win? Then just bet. Bet on the game, no stress, no sweat. And win big in the Wanna Bet Just Bet promotion. Spend $1,500 or more on one Just Bet ticket and complete the entry form at promotions.supremegames.com for your chance to win. Third place gets Beats by Dre. Second place gets an iPhone 15 and AirPods Pro. And first place gets a 65-inch TV and a soundbar. Promotion runs May 16 to July 20, 2025. Grand draw July 25, 2025. Authorized under Section 58. Of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Back to school doesn't have to break the bank. Swap instead of shop. Join Nationwide 90 FM at our Back to School Fair on Saturday, July 26 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Harmony Beach Park in the western city of Montego Bay. Bring those books your kids no longer need and swap them for ones they do. Plus, enjoy fun activities, entertainment, and meet your favorite Nationwide personalities. It's all happening in St. James on Saturday, July 26 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Harmony Beach Park. See you there.
Good evening with your sports report. I'm Alex Webby. We bowl things off with some cricket as West Indies and Australia are currently engaged in a bruising contest after 2 days of the second test at the National Stadium in St. George's, Grenada. When stumps were drawn to close the second day, Australia were 12 for 2 in their second innings, an overall lead of 45 with Jayden Seales bagging both wickets. Earlier, the West Indies staged a late fight back before being bowled out for 253 as they responded to Australia's first innings 286. Brandon King top scored with 75, his first test half-century, John Campbell 40 and Shamar Joseph 29. Nathan Lyon bagged 3 for 79 while there were 2 wickets apiece for captain Pat Cummins and Josh Hazelwood. West Indies batting consultant Vlad Reefer admits the bowlers are carrying the bulk of the weight, but he believes it's a matter of time before the batting clicks.
This year the battle is below par, but this is a new battle lineup. You look at our batters, John Campbell being away from Test cricket for a while. So is Shane Hope and Ross and Chase. Then you have King on debut. So starting the second game, Casey Card is new. So I think that this is probably the best battle lineup we can have. It's just a matter of time. You know, it will take time for these fellas to click and get the pace and the rhythm of Test cricket.
Flight Reefer. Now, Jamie Smith and Harry Brook produced a stunning England fight back, but India remained in a dominant position at the end of the third day of the second test at Edgbaston. Smith counter-attacked after Joe Root and Ben Stokes fell in consecutive deliveries in the second over of the day, racing to an 80-ball century and going on to make a supreme 184 not out. He shared an epic partnership of 303 with Brook, who made a more measured yet equally and crucially 158 to all England back into the contest. India came roaring back with the second new ball, however dismissing Brook and sweeping aside the lower order as the final 5 England wickets fell for just 20 runs. The hosts were all out for 407 with a fired-up Mohammad Siraj taking 6 for 70. That meant India took a big first innings lead of 180, and adding to their second innings India 64 for 1, they now enjoy an overall lead of 244. Now to track and field, as national champion Kishane Thompson says he'll not count out breaking the stadium record when he runs in the men's 100 meters at the 58th staging of the Prefontaine Classic, the 9th stop in the Wonder Diamond League Series on Saturday at Hayward Stadium, University of Oregon. The record of 9.80 seconds was set by fellow Jamaican Steve Mullins in 2011.
I'm not feeling any discomforts or being tired. I'm ready. Anything is possible, but I won't jinx it for the bad nor the good. I just gotta come out there, execute, do my best, enjoy myself.
Thompson will line up against countrymen Akeem Blake, Zarnell Hughes, Christian Coleman and Trevon Bramell. 24-year-old Thompson says getting the chance to run against some of the best in the world could be a good test.
It's a good feeling. For me, it's just, to always go out there and enjoy myself in a high level of competition and just being consistently improving.
9 other Jamaicans are down to compete. Akila Smith in the women's long jump, Akira Nugent and Danielle Williams will face the starter in the women's 100 meters hurdles. Malik James King and Asini Wilson are registered for the men's 400 meters hurdles. Dejane Oakley will be the Jamaican standard bearer in the women's 400 meters. Regina Campbell will compete in the men's shot put. Brian Lavelle will contest the men's 200 meters, and Tina Clayton will feature in the women's 100 meters. Now, India's push towards winning the 2036 Olympic hosting contest seems to stall a little in the first big decision of Kirsty Coventry's IOC presidency. Coventry paused the fast tracking of a preferred bidder in a concession to International Olympic Committee members who have wanted more say in decisions on the new leadership. President of the Jamaica Olympic Association, Christopher Samuda, described the move as substantial.
A very dramatic start to the presidency. She's out of the blocks with a purpose and an inclusive vision in announcing that there will be a pause on the election process for awarding host cities the Olympic Games, as I suspect she is seeking to engage members further in the process, a move the outcome of which I really believe will allow for greater consultation, transparency, and confidence. She clearly is asserting the voice of members as pivotal to the dialogue for greater change in the Olympic movement.
India has been seen as gaining momentum in the 2036 race that involves at least 10 bidders in talks including Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Indonesia and Istanbul in Turkey. In her third full day in office, Coventry promised to create 2 working groups to look at how hosts are chosen and a second analyzing how to protect the female category of the controversy in the women's boxing at the 2024 Paris Olympics.
This move, I believe, will secure another vote of confidence for her. It is a pause to reflect, introspect, and project to ensure a better product of the Olympic Games. And any organization wishing to remain relevant and viable should occasionally do this. Good move, and I suspect the context resides in the fact that the Olympic Games embodies our common humanity in sport and is an eclectic experience, and therefore it should reflect the majority rather than the minority perspective. Further, although one city currently hosts the games, it's a global asset, the culture of which, while celebrating the ethos of the host city, is universal. After all, the Olympic Games is sports' global citizenry that is in action.
Christopher Samuda. Now to horse racing, as ahead of the 66th running of the Jamaica St. Leger at the Caymanas Park on Sunday, Solomon Sharp, chairman of the Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited, revealed that the excitement is at fever pitch among the horse racing community. Sharp, while speaking with Nationwide Sports, shared that there should be a lot of surprises among the thoroughbreds on the day.
In the last 2 days, I've gotten calls from different connections, chit-chatting, and everybody seems confident that they're going to win. One of the other real birds told me that there's no way that the filly will lose, and that Roman stuck on her, so she won't lose. But so going in, you easily have about 6 or 7 horses that think they're the one.
The 2025 running of the St. Leger, which is the second jewel in the local Triple Crown, will be contested among 14 of the best thoroughbreds over 10 furlongs. It will see the likes of the 1,000 guineas winner Burning Edge and the 2,000 guineas winner Sensational Soul. According to Sharp, the quality of local horses and jockeys augurs well for the future of local racing at the historic Caymanas Park.
These horses are coming to their own. It's a new era. It's a whole different environmental conditions that these horses were brought up in. So different era, different times. But what is always constant is the excitement at Caymanas Park and all the surprises. So I expect a lot. These cadre of jockeys have really improved and really come on great. And I think everything is shaping up for a wonderful racing weekend.
Solomon Sharp. Now, Elaine Walker-Brown, chairman of the Jamaica Football Federation Women's Committee, believes the lack of payment that was promised by the government to the clubs participating in the Jamaica Women's Premier League is stifling the growth of the game on local soil.
Once we don't have the cash, we can't care, So it's difficult. It's very, very, very difficult. At the level and the amount of games that they are playing now.
At the launch of the competition, the government had promised a payment of $100,000 for the 5 months of the league to each of the participating 11 clubs. According to Walker-Brown, with the local female league still at the embryonic stage, funding is paramount to sustaining the life of the sport.
Right across the board, the main problem where women football is concerned, financial support. It's hard, it's very difficult, and remember, we are still at the developing stage at our local level, and if we don't have the support, especially cash-wise, the clubs struggle real hard.
Elaine Walker-Brown. The Campion College Crocs will seek their second win from as many starts when they take on the Texas Tigers in the Cayman Islands Hoop Fest at the ARC Stadium on Friday evening. In the second match, the Cayman Islands under 17s will take on the Cayman Bulldogs. Campion opened their campaign with a commanding 67-42 win over the Bulldogs. Campion's defensive intensity and ball movement overwhelmed the Bulldogs early. Raheem Martel led the Jamaican squad with 14 points, 5 rebounds and an eye-popping 13 steals. Despite his performance, Martel believes he could have done better.
It's not really my best because my shots weren't falling, but I didn't held my head down. I just kept on pushing and do what I can do best to help the team secure their victory. What helped us in the game was really coach. Coach helped us to maintain discipline because a lot of the times we got indiscipline in our defense, and so coach helped us to stay focused during our timeouts and helped us to be calm under pressure, because at one point they were coming back, and so we were really glad that he was able to help us calm down the game and secure our victory.
Raheem Martel, the Cayman Islands on the 17th beat the Texas Tigers 84-68 in their first match. And finally, in tennis, Lockett McGregor tournament organizer for the Mayberry Investment Limited Junior Tennis Championships, set to run from July 7 to 11 at the Ligonier Club, believes this year's staging will be second to none due to the changes in the format of the tournament. McGregor added that the newly added universal tennis rating, which will be part of this year's staging, will put positive pressure on the participating players to elevate their standard of play.
Here we have added the UTR, which is the Universal Tennis Ranking, which allow players in and around the region to earn international points. And these points are very valuable to them in terms of helping them to get into different colleges and universities overseas.
This year's staging will see over 40 players participated in the under 12, under 14, under 16 and under 18 categories, with matches set for 12 noon to 4 p.m. daily. The tournament director believes the level of competition will be of a higher standard than usual.
I think it's going to be very competitive. The players are always sought after this tournament. It's one of the bigger tournaments in previous years. And we are hoping that it will be, like I said before, very competitive and very exciting. Having it back on the calendar, I'm sure it's going to be very competitive and very exciting because the players are all looking forward to compete in this year's event.
Lockett McGregor, I'm Alric Swaby, and that's your sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:23.
The National Land Agency will conduct house-to-house title distribution under its systematic land registration program for residents of St. Catherine from June 30 to August 29, 2025. You will need your government-issued ID to receive your title. For more information, contact the National Land Agency at 876-750-5263 or 876-946-5263. The National Land Agency, one goal.
Enough power tool, big to small. Jackama figure dig the wall.
Our Total Tools.
Beat back figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand.
Total Tools.
We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When you say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option. Total Tools located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Sly Road, Kingston. And lot C6 Jackson, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
Attention registered voters! Remember to collect your renewed voter ID card before the upcoming general election. If you registered to vote in 2016 or after and did not get your new ID card, it may have been automatically renewed. Simply visit your EOJ constituency office to collect your voter ID card. Contact the Electoral Office of Jamaica at 888-991-VOTE or 922-0425-9 for more information.
Are you looking to drive sales and build brand visibility this summer? Be a vendor at the Nationwide 90 FM Back to School Fair on Saturday, July 26th at Harmony Beach Park, Montego Bay. Families from St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, Trelawney, and St. Elizabeth will be out in full force. And you should be too. Call us at 876-630-1210. Or email sales@nationwidenewsnetwork.com to secure your spot. Let's put your brand where it matters, on the ground.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robian Williams. A special good evening to our friends over on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. We want you to weigh in live in the comments section on today's Public Opinion. I'm particularly excited about this Public Opinion because I want to hear your views, the views of the people, and it pertains, or Public Opinion today pertains, campaign songs. It's election season. Yeah? We have the People's National Party. We have the Jamaica Labour Party. We have the JPP. We have the UIC. Yeah? So, I'm going to play for you the JLP's campaign song. Let me tell you first, the Public Opinion. Which party campaign song is your favorite song? Now we're going to jog your memory. This campaign period we're talking about, and I know we've had many from then till now, but we're talking about this campaign period, and we've heard one for the JLP and another from the PNP, and we've also heard one from the JPP. So, the first one up is the Jamaica Labour Party's campaign song, Choose Jamaica.
Choose Jamaica. Choose Jamaica.
We're on a mission to lift up our communities. Jamaica Labour Party building shared prosperity. No, we never said that it would happen overnight. Still we laid the foundation to make the future right. We played our hearts to uphold our part. We've been going strong and we're just getting started. A leadership who stands to the rightful path. The greener grass is here, the better choice is clear.
Choose Jamaica
for better communities.
Choose Jamaica
for our prosperity.
All right, that's Choose Jamaica. Sounding it off, Blood and Fire Comrade, the PNP's campaign song.
March, we are march, 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 we are march, march, march. Now we are marching on to progress. Time comes, don't be alarmed. And we don't care what the liberals say or what they say we are. Now we need to fight the liberals and to set Jamaica free. We are blood and fire comrades, and we march into victory. Everything they broke down, we have a build back.
All right. Coming in with the Jamaica Progressive Party, JPP, at this time. It's the nation's fourth registered political party. Let's hear theirs.
We have endured the lies for 62 years, and both of them don't even care. Now is the time to even the score. Let's vote for change and a whole lot more. Right party, right time. Ready for vote, make up your mind. JPP, honest and true.
All right. So those are three of the songs we've heard so far for the campaign period. I'm going to put it to you. Which party campaign song is your favorite so far? Going to quickly go on our Facebook platform where Salome Paul says, one is not enough. I have three. Roll call. Andrew go mash them up and me and my neighbor. Those are old songs. Lily Roses is saying Andrew mash them up. All the JLP songs are hot. Labour Party songs live rent-free. Coming from Shireen Pearson. She's saying Labour Party songs live rent-free in our head. Audrey Smith says, who are the big man? Who run the island? Who have the best plan? Andrew. Okay. Heaven Madden is saying, who are the champion? Andrew. Richard Walters is saying, anything the Labour Party put out, it are the best. For Simone Unbreakable, Simone is saying the JLP songs, the other side don't have a song. Well, I don't know because I don't listen. All right. Lady Marie is saying even Cliff knows that it's the PNP. All labor rights dancing and singing to it. All right. Dorothy is saying only the PNP songs fit for my hearing. J is saying the river coming down to bank to bank coming down. Librance is saying Blood and Fire Comrades is they can't compare to it. Winston Fraser says Blood and Fire Comrades big tune. Yeah. For Garfield O'Brien, he's saying, and the verdict is in, an overwhelming win for the JLP songs. Davian Paddy says, them can't run, them can't hide, them can't do a thing. Labour, right? Yeah, right. And it is saying, Labour Party marching on to victory. All right. Doreen is saying, Andrew gonna mash them up. Becca saying, choose Jamaica. A lot of choose Jamaica. I'm seeing Blood and Fire Comrade also. Let me go switch on over to Instagram. Philip King says, me and my neighbor voting for Labour. Not this campaign period, but all right. Choose Jamaica is my favorite. Though me and my neighbor was from 2007, it still sounds good and catchy. I am Javon says, choose Jamaica. Remaya is saying the Choose Jamaica song. Marching to Progress is the best song. All right, let me see on our X platform. Don Messi is saying, who are the big man? Andrew, who has the best plan? That's the one he's choosing. Let me see if I can get in some more. Choose Jamaica. Pi Arity is saying it has a nice patriotic vibe about it. Me and my neighbor voting for Labour, says Shanae. We are marching on to Progress. I'm also seeing Austin Chapo says, obviously the PNP song, definitely the song of the election. Blood and Fire Comrade, that's the banger. Even the Labourites love it, says Do Your Civic Duty. Which party campaign song is your favorite so far? Let's go. Is it the JLP's Choose Jamaica, the PNP's Blood and Fire Comrade, or the JPP song? Well, they're telling us, they're saying, yeah, choose them. Let's see. On our YouTube platform, let's get to it. YRD is saying choose Jamaica. Lifeline Canada is saying Blood and Fire returns to sender. Choose Jamaica coming from Shelley Clark. Choose Jamaica. Sonia Campbell saying choose Jamaica. Yeah. Let me see. I would give it to the JLP. Blood and Fire should have no place in election, says Chin Bella. Choose Jamaica coming from Becca Grant. Andrew. Let me see. Donovan saying I'm a JLP supporter, but the JPP song is very good and a catchy song. Me and my neighbor voting for Labour, says Orinthia Campbell. Let me see. Roll call. I missed that one. Choose Jamaica coming from Michelle Gray. Seeing Choose Jamaica also from Angelie. PNP song, like when somebody David Nabar, muffler hitting the street. Me and my neighbor voting for Labour, coming from Orinthia Campbell. Philip Jackson says choose Jamaica. Roll call. Wow. You guys remember back in COVID when it was a dub election campaign? Yeah? When when most of the members of parliament, they came out with their dubs. Dub baka dub clash. I called it the dub election. Yeah, we heard bunting out and stunting. Kyle them tick like dumpling. Yeah, we heard that one. We heard Floyd Green and I'm on alien, son of boy cast. We heard a lot of dubs coming out of the 2020 general election. I recall specifically those songs, and there was also a song with Dr. Peter Phillips. Yeah, that we all remember to this day. Thank you guys so much for participating in Public Opinion. The Business Report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:35.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 out west in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. The U.S. government is to start sending out letters to countries with details of higher U.S. tariff rates that will begin on August 1. That's according to President Donald Trump. Between 10 to 12 letters will go out on Friday, with more over the coming days. The import duties will range from 60% or 70% tariffs to 10 to 20% tariffs, the top end of which is higher than he had previously outlined. That's President Donald Trump. Trump has set a deadline of July 9 for negotiations over import tax rates as countries scramble to reach deals. In the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 160 Jamaican dollars and 62 cents to buy $1, 219 Jamaican dollars and 3 cents to buy £1 British pound, and 117 Jamaican dollars and 17 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend.
As we enter the peak of hurricane season, don't let downtime disrupt your business. Digicel Business offers secure cloud storage and Jamaica's only Tier 3 certified data center, built to withstand storms and safeguard your data. With 24/7 monitoring, local hosting, and 100% uptime, your operations stay protected no matter the weather. Prepare now, protect what matters. Call Digicel Business Solutions at 876-469-2677 or visit digicelbusiness.com. Digicel Business Solutions. Stay online, stay protected.
Are your devices accurate? Are they calibrated? Even small errors can lead to big problems. That's why Jamaicans trust the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. From food to fuel, health to hardware, our metrology and testing division provides world-class calibration and measurement services to keep your devices precise and your business meeting global standards. Whether you're weighing goods, monitoring temperature, or relying on the accuracy of devices, we get it right every time. Our advanced equipment and experts help you move with confidence. Call 876-618-1534 or visit bsj.org.jm. The Bureau of Standards Jamaica. From lab to market, the power of precision, powering accuracy, ensuring safety.
Nago Head St. Catherine, Greenleaf Medical and Diagnostics has opened its door at 55 Newland Road to assist you with all your medical needs. Visit and get the services of a general practitioner, pediatrician, gynecologist, and surgeon. They also do all tests: ultrasound, pap smear, ECG, and diagnostic testing. Open Mondays to Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Telephone 876-740-1224. Greenleaf Medical and Diagnostics, your medical partner in Nago Head.
Are you looking for a place where your imagination can blossom into something amazing? Where you can be as creative as you dare, with facilitators who will prepare you to succeed in a global career? Or maybe you're looking for a place that practices tertiary level education in a practical way? Then you belong at the Vocational Training Development Institute, VTDI. Become the best you can be. You belong here. VTDI, empowering people, transforming lives.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Calling all businesses. Nationwide 90 FM's Back to School Fair is heading to Harmony Beach Park, Montego Bay on Saturday, July 26th, and your brand should be there. with families from St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, Trelawney, and St. Elizabeth expected to attend. It's the perfect chance to connect directly with back-to-school shoppers. Contact us at sales@nationwidenewsnetwork.com or call 876-630-1210 to book your vendor space today.
Welcome back, Nationwide at 5. And now we are heading, of course, into the nation's business. I'm your host, Professor Donna Hope, and I have with me, of course, my co-host, sir.
Reid.
Tyrone Reid.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Tyrone. Welcome back, Tyrone.
Good evening to our listeners. Yes, thank you so much.
And we're now going to be talking a little bit about things outside of our region, Jamaica, but of course connecting with us, we're talking about a Palestine protest. And the Palestine Solidarity Action Group is urging CARICOM heads of government to take decisive action against Israel to halt what it describes as genocide in Palestine. The group is also calling on the newly appointed CARICOM chairman, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Dr. Andrew Holness, to ensure that ending the genocide and ending diplomatic relations with Israel are placed on the agenda for immediate discussion and resolution.
According to the group, failure to include the issue on the agenda and make a definitive decision will prompt them to adopt a more forceful public position, accusing CARICOM, Jamaica, and Prime Minister Holness of being complicit in the ongoing atrocities in Gaza. Prime Minister Holness officially assumed the CARICOM chairmanship on July 1 ahead of the 49th Heads of Government meeting set for July 6 to 9 in Montego Bay.
Last year, CARICOM continued its call for an unconditional ceasefire in Gaza and unimpeded humanitarian assistance. They expressed support for the proposal released by the President of the United States for a full and complete ceasefire, leading to a cessation of hostilities and a major reconstruction plan for Gaza. We are now being joined by businessman and member of Speak Out Jamaica, Mr. Robert Dabdoob. Mr. Dabdoob.
Good evening, Mr. Dabdoob. Welcome to Nationwide at 5.
Good evening, thank you. Tyrone, what's your last name? I'm sorry, I didn't get it. Donna Hope.
Reid.
Reid, yes, thank you. Donna Hope's name is so pronounced, it's easy to remember.
Faith, hope, and charity.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
Let's start.
We hope for
Let's start with one little clarification.
Yes.
I am a member of Speak Out. We are supporting Jamaica Solidarity Action, Palestinian Solidarity Action Group, which is the one you read the letter from.
Yes.
But just for, I am not, speaking on their behalf, although I support everything, what they're doing. So I just want to make that point clear. Right? Because our group is Speak Out Jamaica. And I think everybody have the same vision for a ceasefire and hope in Palestine. But that letter was written by their head of the thing, so I don't want to be talking on their behalf. For whatever I'm speaking, it's Speak Out. But we endorse what they're doing, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, Mr. Dabdoob. So in terms of Speak Out Jamaica's own perspective and, response to the situation that has been ongoing for some time, what exactly does Speak Out Jamaica ask of Jamaica's Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness as head of CARICOM and or the people of Jamaica and the CARICOM, group? What are they asking?
All right. It's not just our Prime Minister. It just so happens that our Prime Minister is now the head of CARICOM.
Yes.
As of this week.
Yes.
And it just so happens that at this time, there is a CARICOM meeting in Jamaica.
July 6th,
so
yes.
It's opportune to do so. Now, there have been some strong statements, like from Dr. Mia Martley, who wanted, who called it a televised genocide, and the government of Guyana and CARICOM, which includes Jamaica, had already called for a ceasefire. But it's 20 months. It's a lot of talk. More people are dying every day. there is talk of taking the land and putting them God knows where. Not just for the Palestinians, but then that can be done to any country. Are we going to stand up for that? It's not a poor area. They are rich in gas and oil, which was found some years ago. But they are being prevented from exploiting it, and people are openly talking about setting up companies and taking it. So the whole world is going to sit by, watch a genocide and a theft, and what stops them from doing it to other countries. So it's an obligation. Either you are with humanity, with decency, or if you allow corruption and criminality of that extent, then when it happens to you, don't cry. No, the difficulty for CARICOM, of course, is that we are very closely aligned to the West, geographically and historically and financially, etc. But I'll give you an example of what leadership looks like and what it may be done. We're looking to them to do something more than just talk. Some action must be taken. It can be done by cutting ties with Israel or suspending your representative from Israel to send them a message. It can be done by calling on the UN. And this is CARICOM has to do that, because individual companies should not countries should not stand up and then be singled out. If CARICOM stands together, they stand united. CARICOM can call for the United Nations to again, a General Assembly this is, to again call for a ceasefire, full ceasefire, and a withdrawal of troops. Why not also call for United Nations peacekeeping force to be put in there to protect all the parties concerned and to get out all the rest of the hostages, as well as the hostages which are called prisoners being held by Israel, which these so-called prisoners which are hostages, including 12, 13, 14-year-old kids, have been held for years before. So are we going to just sit by and watch it? No. Of course, the feeling is if you take certain actions, the West and its bigger countries, because it seems that everybody is afraid of the United States, all the world, but the West is all the way in turning a blind eye to this, or talking but not taking action. But while everybody is afraid of the U.S. seems afraid of Israel. So I don't know. The tail is wagging the dog is wagging the tail, and the whole world is in a turmoil upside down. Look on Sudan, look on DRC. But I'll give you an example of what I talk about courage and leadership. Prime Minister Jean Chrétien from Canada, when they went into Afghanistan, Canada supported it. When the United States called on the West again to invade Iraq, Canada said, no, we do not agree with this. He was vilified. He was chastised. In Canada itself, I remember being there when there was a major press conference. It got so hot. Every day they were cursing him. His own media, condemning him, calling him anti-West and not an ally of the West. He came under tremendous pressure.
Well, Mr. Dabdoub, and there are a lot of other examples that we could bring into the mix, but I think one of the questions many Jamaicans would ask,
let me answer this.
Complete the point. I will bring in my co-host as well. Yes.
Let me finish that point, because he's a very good example of maybe how some of our leaders should act. At that press conference, which was called, they came there to tear him apart, and there was a frenzy, and he got up and made an unbelievable, I wouldn't even call it speech. It was short and sweet. He says, we are one of the greatest allies and friends of the United States of America. But let me ask you all here, if your friend is driving straight into a brick wall, does it help him if you drive into it with him and hit a brick wall yourself? Or isn't it better to warn him that he's going into a brick wall? I mean, the whole place changed, the whole atmosphere changed after that. So we need to do something like this. And I think CARICOM, as a group, can take that decision and just send a message to the world with a strong decision, which is our historical thing, being our history of colonization and standing up against apartheid and for humanity. Sorry,
well, you know, Mr. Dabdob, and I need to bring in my co-host, but I'm just saying that one of the things that and I'm looking at my YouTubers here online, and many of them are expressing caution and asking Jamaica to remain neutral and stay away from it, because even as our Prime Minister takes the helm of CARICOM, you know, in succeeding Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, we understand that Jamaica has tried to maintain a kind of stance because of the perceptions of what may come at us if we take any kind of stance. So the YouTubers are saying we should remain neutral. CARICOM didn't start any of this, and we should try to keep in the middle of things so that we are not harmed by any flack. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know, basically, like I said, I don't know if the majority of YouTubers are like that. I have not found that. I have seen some ads in the newspapers, and the response I see are like 90%. And the people I talk to here, most 90% are for it. Now, taking action is a different thing. But if we go to live in fear, if we stand for nothing, you know, you fall for anything. And right now, maybe we're falling for anything. There is a way to tell your ally that what we're doing is wrong. Let's look at it. Let's find a way out. And some action is needed. That history is going to judge what happens here. And it's not Jamaica. You mentioned Jamaica, that the YouTubers say Jamaica has to be careful. It's CARICOM that we have now. They have to take a decision as CARICOM. It's not just Jamaica.
All right, let's hear from Tyrone. I hear you scratching your throat. Tyrone, yes, your point.
Mr. Dabdu, again, welcome. I just wanted to find out, I know you are representing Speak Out Jamaica, but we did in our leading read that the group is called, the Palestine Solidarity Action Group is urging CARICOM heads of government to take decisive action. And we did mention ending the genocide and ending diplomatic relations with Israel, and that's where I wanted to start in terms of trying to move the needle on this. Is this kind of going in hot approach, for lack of a better phrase? Would it prove counterproductive to us being able to have any sway or influence over the actions being taken by the Israelis? If you, let's say, start off with ending diplomatic relations, or is it that you're saying end the genocide, or we will end diplomatic relations? How should this be understood? I'm just trying to understand it.
Well, here's how I would explain it to you. First of all, I'm going to do two ways. One, apartheid in South Africa didn't end because people appeased and condescended to the powers that be. The powers that be, the West played a lot of games undermining the people who were fighting against apartheid. And unfortunately, people have to make a sacrifice to get freedom. That's why we have to respect Mandela. He spent how many years? More than a great portion of his life in jail. And I admire him. I don't think I could do it. He came out with no bias. And he came out to see what was best for his country after that, when he got freed. The other way I would also bring to your attention of our options. So we're saying whoever has the power, whoever has the money, we have to be careful what we say or what we do. You know, if you stand for nothing, you're going to fall for anything. And if that is not slavery, I don't know what is. The difference with that slavery and the previous slavery is that in the previous slavery, they had to feed you. The difference in this slavery is you're on your own. You make your way but you don't step in any way. And we're all paying for this, America is paying, it's backing it. Israel is not paying anything, because it's all being backed by America and all these other countries. And so it comes back on us in terms of the cost. And who makes money? The people are seeing the bombs that are dropping all over the bloody world, including in Sudan, including in Congo. I know there is some peace being worked out now. I don't know how good that is, how long it will last. The Ukraine war. All these wars are really unnecessary if you think about it. But because we don't stick to principle, and of course we have a series of bad leaders, probably in the 20s it gets worse, but in the years of the feudal system under the kings, we didn't have great leaders. They divided up the country in counties, and they put a lord in charge, and the lord came and levied a tax on people, and they had to pay it or they got to jail. So they will take half the money and give the king half the money. That's how the monarchy grew. I don't know if that's the world we want to live in.
But Mr. Dabdo, Robert Dabdo, yes, if I could interject, one of the one of the ways that we have seen the world continue to trend in this 21st century is that even though many of us thought that, the high-profile technology and the, training of people and diplomatic relations would have resulted in less hand-over-hand conflict and dropping of bombs, we have seen far more a rise of xenophobic activities all over the world, and conflicts that are decades old, some of them centuries old, continue to fester. So I look at, for example, what has the European Union taken any specific stance on what is happening with the Gaza-Palestine issue that I was born into a world to hear about. The world continues to move in that direction. What role would Jamaica play? But I also remember living in Washington, D.C. while I was studying, and one of the things that used to happen to Tyrone Reed and YouTubers and listeners is that every time there were any high-level meetings in Washington, D.C., people would come and they would placard and they would protest both sides, people from different sides of the coin, the police officers are in the middle, for their democratic right to ask, to insist, and to demand responses to different things about wars and about other things in the world. So, yes, we are having the meeting in Jamaica on the 6th of July, and I know it is the democratic right of individuals and groups to ask for, attention from regional bodies and also to question and pressure, to placard and pose. But again, that is something that would have to be put on the table. Are the citizens of Jamaica and or the region willing to put themselves under that fire in the same way that they did with the apartheid movement that had more direct relationships to the lives of themselves as black people in another part of the world? So you have to ask a lot of questions. Are people willing and interested at the level of citizens? Are governments and regional bodies willing and interested in being directly involved in these kinds of ongoing conflicts and the repercussions that may come from them? Yes.
It is a
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. W, it is a divisive issue, and people are either strong on one side or the other. But last year, as we said in our leading, CARICOM continued its call for an unconditional ceasefire in Gaza and unimpeded humanitarian assistance. Is that sufficient for your group, or CARICOM needs to do more than that?
Well, what's sufficient? I think what it's saying is that words are not enough. Some action has to be taken. But in response to Dr. Hope's presentation, it was well worded, and about the options.
Yes.
The options is it's not about being divisive and making decisions. It's what's right and what's wrong. It's clear what's right and wrong here. And there's no two sides in right and wrong. There's a wrong side and there's a right side. Simple. And in genocide, there's no two sides. There's a genocide. Right? It's not two sides committing genocide, it's one. But if we are going to act not on a principle, but on fear, then I'll give you the words of Marcus Garvey. None but ourselves can free our minds. Everybody think Bob Marley said that. Bob Marley sang that. Marcus Garvey said that. And if you think we have things to fear, you look at what Marcus Garvey went through to give that example to the world, how you stand up as a man, how you take the abuse and show the world what you should be A black man was nothing then, was looked down upon, spat upon, but he showed the difference. And I want to give you Muhammad Ali and how he stood up and went to prison, because as he said, why am I going to kill the Viet Cong? They have done me nothing, and I do not believe in this war. So that is the point. No.
And Mr. Dabdu, and Tyrone, we're actually out of time. We're out of time. But Tyrone, I think you want to make a quick point before we end.
No, right. I wanted to just ask Mr. Dabdu quickly, just the top two things that you would want to see Israel do to bring an end to this. What would be those top two things?
Mm-hmm. Well, if I could very quickly, Israel is not going to do anything. Because the leader,
what would you want them to do is what I'm asking.
And first, they need to change their leader, which the majority of Israelis want. He's also wanted by the courts and by pushing these wars, and he'll continue to push these wars until he's stopped by the West by not giving arms. But I want to make a clear point. I am not advocating, and I don't think anybody's advocating.
I don't think you've given me the two things.
We have to wrap up. We have to wrap up the so right. Remove the leader
and then what?
No, I'm just making a clear point that we are not asking CARICOM to confront the U.S. and all that. We're asking CARICOM to be a good friend of the U.S. and the European, and so we're going down the wrong road. This is what we feel can happen. CARICOM cannot change anything, but they can shine the light as to where we go.
We have to leave it.
Just to be balanced, Prof. If you permit me to squeeze in one, what would you want to see? What would you want to see the Palestinians or Hamas or those groupings in Palestine do to bring an end to all of this? Is there anything that you'd want to see from them as well?
Well, of course, the first thing you do is have no reason for them to be fighting for freedom, which they have been fighting for freedom from 48. That's the first reason. The second thing I'd like to say, though, what do we want CARICOM to do? It would be very symbolic, very powerful for CARICOM to come out and say, we recommend, we ask the United Nations to send peacekeeping forces there to save what is happening now, to protect the loss of lives, not only of the innocent Palestinians, but even of IDF soldiers who may or may not want to be there. And to have an international Congress to sort it out. What is wrong with that? That's what any sensible...
And we have to end on that note. And we have to end on that note. Robert Dabdu,
businessman and member of Speak Out Jamaica.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dabdu. Thank you
Thank you very much.
And all the best as you move along. Speak Out Jamaica and of course the Palestine Solidarity Action Group. Eyes on the Palestine and the Gaza issue, but we move along into the program. We take a break and we come right back. Stay with us.
Why rush around town for back-to-school shopping? Nationwide 90 FM is making it easy at our back-to-school fair. Come get your child measured for uniforms, check their shoe size, and purchase essentials right there on the spot. St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, Trelawney, St. Elizabeth. We've got everything in one place just for you. That's Saturday, July 26, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Harmony Beach Park, Montego Bay. The Nationwide 90 FM Back-to-School Fair.
The race to 32. Nationwide 90 FM's coverage of the 2025 general elections. Coming soon.
Ladies, tune in to the Design Studio on July 5 from 1 to 3 p.m. as we broadcast live from the Garden Group Ladies Expo. Come to Jamaica's Ultimate Ladies Day at the National Arena. Experience over 100 exhibitors featuring fashion, beauty, food and wine tastings, health, finance, career tips, live entertainment, and more. Gather your girlfriends for an unforgettable day of glam, growth, and great vibes. Can't make it? We got you covered. Tune in to the Design Studio on July 5 from 1 to 3 p.m. It's the Garden Group Ladies Expo, the ultimate ladies' day out. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Garden Group and Stewart's Automotive Group.
And if you hear this and then go on bend your back, go on bend your knees.
Not a mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all the schoolers who are taking beats.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team, Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Welcome back. It's 7 minutes after 7 here in Kingston, Jamaica. And of course, we are coming to you live from the studios of Nationwide. And we are now in our story talking about, of course, signs that were illegally erected. We're here on the ground in Jamaica. It's a very high season as we approach what is going to be a very historic general election.
Absolutely.
Somewhere down the road, right, Tyrone? Somewhere close enough.
Somewhere down.
Close.
Only one man knows.
Only one man.
In a democracy.
Our constitution made that. Remember, it's in the constitution. So we have to go along with what is there.
We perhaps need to fix that.
We've been trying, but we'll get there. But of course,
right.
As we get into the season, that is more, it's heightened. We are talking a little bit about some of the things happening on the ground. And so the mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon, has confirmed that several posters mounted in the town by the Palestine Solidarity Action Group are removed by the St. James Municipal Corporation. So the signs that read Free Gaza were erected as part of plans by the group to stage a peaceful protest this Sunday, July 6. Mayor Vernon says the signs were illegally erected.
So yesterday it was brought to our attention that there were some political messages in the form of signs erected along the A1 main road within the vicinity of Sangsters International Airport, and we did an investigation and noted that there were several breaches where the erection of those signs are concerned. One having to do with no consent deemed by the law for them to be erected there. The other, no consent given by the local authority for them to be erected there. And a third, they should not place those signs or any signs, a matter of fact, along the highway in the public space on trees. So we noted those. We visited the area this morning and have them removed.
The Palestine Solidarity Action Group says the planned protest is against the mass genocide and starvation of the Palestinian people in Gaza, Palestine.
It also aims at petitioning the CARICOM heads of government to take action against Israel's attacks on Palestine. I just heard in the conversation we had previously, CARICOM is set to host its 49th meeting with the heads of government on July 6 to 8 at the Montego Bay Convention Center. Now, according to Mayor Vernon, a special order wasn't needed to have the signs removed.
He says since the posters were taken down, the responsible group has reached out to the municipality on erecting them within the legal framework.
Since they have been removed, the persons, I believe, who are behind it, they reach out to me personally pertaining to the fees associated with and the fine associated with it. And I believe they're also now at the municipal corporation based on the information that I received from the Commercial Services Department that they came in to pay for signs to be erected in the designated area. What is on it is of no concern to us. The fact that there are signs is what is of importance where this matter is concerned.
Hearing there, of course, from Richard Vernon, Mayor of Montego Bay, and who joins us now to talk about this issue with the illegal signs that were erected and removed. Mayor Vernon, good
evening to you, Mayor Vernon. Welcome to Nationwide at 5.
Good evening, lovely people. Thank you very much, and good evening to your listeners.
Indeed. Tell us, Mayor Vernon, because you spoke about it in the clips we played to some extent, but tell us what are the specific regulations that govern signposting in Montego Bay and how these were violated by the Palestine Solidarity Action Group.
Okay. But first, let me say that we have no interest in messaging. So whether it be the Solidarity Group that you mentioned, protesting about what is happening in the global space, we have no interest in that. We have interest in the physical structure, which is the sign. And with the freedom of speech, we are pro-peace, and we believe that we should not have war anywhere in the world. And that is what I want to get across immediately. Now, moving to the matter at hand, which is signs. And once you do political messaging or even political advertising, physical form,
one moment, Mayor Vernon, you're not coming across very clearly. Your
line is breaking.
Your line is breaking up.
Okay, you hearing me better now?
Yes, we are.
Yes,
right. So I'm saying any political messaging or advertising, once that has been converted to the physical form as then they come the Town and Country Planning Act of 1978. The Town and Country Planning Act has several regulations. In this particular matter, because it is a matter of politics, it's about political messages, then we have to look immediately at two things in the act. Is it promoting a local event? No. Is it associated with parliamentary elections? No. So then immediately you realize that the act will not give these signs consent to be erected without or permission at the local authority, which in the act it is referred to as deemed consent. The next thing is that do you allow authority to apply for signs in general to be placed anywhere in areas that signs can be displayed? Yes. Did they come to us? No. They went ahead and they erected it. That roadway is also owned by the National Works Agency. Under the Town and Country Planning Act...
One moment, Mayor Vernon, you're still breaking up a bit, so we are checking your line, so... One moment, hold for us, yes. And yes, so we are checking Mayor Vernon's line to ensure that we have clearer, clarity while he's speaking, Tyrone. So the issue continues in terms of ensuring that we are working within the ambit of the law. What regulations exist.
Right, we can.
Yes.
And regardless of how noble your cause is, you can't just get up and decide that you're going to erect a sign, right? It has to be done within the ambit of the law, and it doesn't matter which faction of society you're from, what cause you're supporting. We are a country of laws, right?
Definitely.
So we have to operate within that framework, or else anarchy will prevail.
And we have Mayor Vernon back with us, Tyrone. Mayor Vernon, you're back with us?
All right. So
yes, Mayor Vernon.
Lost me at 2 or 3. So quickly, so it did not receive deemed consent by law because it is not associated with the parliamentary election. It is not advertised in a local event. It was not given permit because they did not apply to the corporation to advertise. And the National Works Agency also owns that roadway. Let me be clear on this thing of ownership. You see the law, it says that any sign, whether it be political or otherwise, that is being erected must get consent from the owner of the property. That did not come out in any of the conversations, so I wanted to make that clear. All right, so we move now over to the fact that they are just there and become defacement. And when they become defacement, based on the powers delegated to us by the National Solid Waste Management Authority, we now deal with the enforcement aspect of this. And in the section of the National Solid Waste Management Act that deals with defacement, then they will be charged for each sign on the litter, because defacement is a form of litter. So they were charged for each sign under the Litter Act. But they came in to do a regularization now, to say that they want to pay for it to be advertised in a conspicuous space, which naturally couldn't be in the space of the airport. We did not designate that section of the city as an advertising space for, especially along that section where the trees are and such.
Yes.
We recently started to use the Elegant Corridor for advertisement for events coming up for the convention center and such. But that is an arrangement between the Tourism Enhancement Fund, the Municipal Corporation, and the Jamaica Public Service Company, where permission was sought from the property owner, JPS, for us to display signs leading to the convention center. So even the government entities, they seek approval from property owners so that we can have, proper arrangement for the execution of advertisement within the space. So that is what happened, really.
Mm-hmm.
We did hear in that clip, though, that steps have been taken to regularize the situation, Mayor Vernon. That's the case, yes?
Repeat, please.
No, I'm saying we heard in one of the clips that we played in the leading of you saying that steps have been taken to regularize the situation by the group.
Right. Yes, so they came in to the Municipal Corporation after we removed the signs earlier. We removed the signs at approximately 9:30. 9:30, somewhere thereabout. They came in the afternoon about 3 to say that they accept the breach, they take full responsibility, and that they would like to get back the signs. We say, sure, you can get them back, just pay the fees, because usually that is what we do. When we confiscate signs, we do not destroy them, we store them. Okay. When we expect the persons to come back to have a discussion with us pertaining to, defacement or litter in general, or whatever the case may be. And once we clear that hurdle, then we give it back to them and have them do the right thing, which is to erect them, pay for them to be erected in the designated areas, and then they go ahead and do what they have to do. And that is usually the arrangement.
But Mayor Vernon, based on what you're saying in terms of the retroactive request for the signs now to be under the regulation directed in a very prominent location by the airport corridor, it sounds as if, again, that the protesters are targeting the persons coming in for the for the CARICOM convention. And so will the municipality be able to manage any potential disputes or disruptions or conflicts because of the way that the protests are planned, the timing of the protests and the CARICOM meeting? What kind of plans are in place?
Well, I mean, persons have certain rights, right to protest and all of that. That falls outside of our purview in a certain sense. So that is where we'd have to get the police now to manage the space. And of course, we have a very good relationship with the police in terms of managing the space of Montego Bay. But the matter for us is about signs, and that is where we have jurisdiction. And we have jurisdiction over events and those things. We have several different legislation that we subscribe to that enable us to manage the space and to promote public order. And this particular situation, as I said, messaging, whatever is on it, fine, pro-peace, no war, we have no issue with that. What we have issue with is the installation of the physical signs within the space.
So will the signs be re-erected in another location under the regulations?
If they want to have them advertised in designated areas for advertisement, we have no problem with that. All right? We have no problem with that. But the airport area, that section in particular, is not an advertising space.
Okay, so Mayor, if I could go back to the group coming back and trying to regularize the situation, did they offer to the municipality why they ended up breaking the law? I'm asking that because I also want to raise the question of if they weren't aware, is it a case that more needs to be done in terms of public education to have folks know what the rules are, governing the erection of signs?
We can always try as best as possible to push the public education. It's always necessary. We have a very dynamic space. Persons are always moving in, moving out. We have new persons in Montego Bay. And perhaps it is not done in other places where they're coming from. But we need to definitely do it in Montego Bay to ensure that we keep everybody up to date as much as possible. But at the moment, we do our community meetings, we do our city hall meetings, and we try to get this message across as much as possible. We meet with promoters for parties, 2, 3, 4 times per year. We talk about signs. We talk about how we can work with the promoters group to facilitate their events and to make it more cost effective and to, all of the necessary arrangement that will help to bring across local economic development within the space, because the main advertisers are promoters of events. But yes, public education is necessary.
I see an interesting question here from our producers, and it's about municipal discretion.
Yes.
Can the municipality exercise discretionary powers, or you must abide by the letter of the law when it comes to these things?
We have to abide by the law unless some legislation is going to change. There's no provision in it, as far as I've seen, for discretion. The only thing that I have identified in maneuvering the documents that we subscribe to is when we have a breach, for example, some of the type of signs that will come under Section 13 of the Act speak to political signs and for churches, religious events, you name it. When there is a sign that we deem to be in breach and it is not supposed to be where it is, for example, if they place it in a dangerous space, and we are seeing some now that are blocking directional signs, National Works Agency signs. We see some on the amenities within the heritage sites within Sam Shop Square. We're seeing several of them, and we're saying that these things have to get discontinuance notice. So that is when the necessary appeal can be made, because when a discontinuance notice is served by the local authority asking these persons to remove their signs, then they can make an appeal to the minister to look into the matter and see if it is properly justified what we are saying. And if so, then some decisions can be made for it to continue, or if the decision is in agreement with the local authority, then they should be removed or remain removed. So those are some of the things that we can use. But in terms of persons coming in to just persons who breach and want to say, come in now, let us regularize and use our discretion, don't charge you and all of that. There is no provision for that as far as I know.
So, Mayor Vernon, going forward, using this, for example, as one of the points of movement, what kind of advice do you have for groups that are planning to stage protests or erect signs in the Montego Bay area to ensure that they are in compliance with the regulations of the municipality? What kind of advice do you have?
Whatever event you're hosting, whether you're doing protests, parties, fish fry, anything that you're doing, always ask the question: what is required for this event to happen? What are the prerequisites? Do I need to go into the local authority? Yes, tick that. When I go to the local authority, what are the things that I must have to ensure that I'm in keeping with the law? We will provide all the necessary guidance because we work with several agencies. And in terms of the bigger events with hundreds of people, we have to inform the Jamaica Fire Brigade. We have to inform our disaster coordinator, the disaster unit, because they too have to look at the matter and say, all right, put contingencies in place. What if we have a stampede? What if a stage collapses? Those type of things. So we have to ensure that we have the necessary contingency plans in place to protect the people, not just about the regulation because we want to regulate.
Yes.
That is why they were created. So come in, talk to us. We will give you all the necessary information. Log into our city hall meetings or community meetings. Get more information so that you can be on the right side of the law.
How can people log into those city hall meetings, Mayor?
We advertise them on our social media pages, in the mass media. We use all means necessary. The WhatsApp, simple broadcast and those stuff. We use that. And the last city hall meeting we had in February, it was on the Jamaica Information Service. They sent that right across to all the media houses, inviting Montegonians out to participate in a discussion about city limits and what are the things that are going to happen within the city limits, things that are going to change, keeping of animals, all of those things. So that is how we get the information out to the people. We send them through SDC, the Social Development Commission, to the community groups, so that they can advertise it to the CDC presidents and the Citizens Association presidents, you name it. So we try as best as possible to get a large cross-section of Montego Bay and the municipality of St. James involved in these meetings. And we have them once per month.
But also, Mayor Vernon, because when you speak about some of these events that are coming to Montego Bay, some of us will drop down on Montego Bay later this month. So, some of those operators may or may not be within the city, even though they may have persons working with them. How do you get the information out to some of the operators and individuals who are promoting events in Montego Bay, even if they're not living inside of the Montego Bay or the greater Montego Bay area?
We communicate through them via their agents. Many of the larger events, there are persons, they're not necessarily from Montego Bay, but they send a representative into the office. And what we do for the huge events, for example, the Summerfest, we call in the organizers, and the Municipal Corporation calls all the relevant agencies to the meeting. Fire, solid waste, public health, all the agencies needing to give approval for the event.
Yes.
And we look at the police, so we have to look at traffic management, we have to look at health standards, we have to look at infrastructure that they're going to put up to facilitate it, like the huge stage. You understand all of those things needed for a massive event.
Yes.
And then the promoters and their team, they're there to ask all the relevant questions. And at the end of the meeting, we say, all right, now you're going to submit the request for the event to us. We're going to send them out to the relevant agencies, and they're going to communicate to us about what is needed, what you need to do to get yourselves ready for this massive event. And at the end, you get your final permit from us for the event. So when you get your permit from us, the police sign off, public health sign off, solid waste, the Jamaica Fire Brigade sign off, and you know that you're in a better position, including the requirement of getting a limited liability for an event, because there are events that are of such magnitude that it needs limited liability insurance so that it can protect the patrons just in case anything should happen. So these are some of the things, and this is why it is important to come into the local authority rather than to just try to keep an event, randomly without following the rules.
Indeed, Mayor Vernon.
When I saw Dr. Hope and Mayor, this segment, I thought this related to another sign issue you recently were involved with, Mayor Vernon. But it turned out to be a completely different issue. What's the latest of that other sign issue?
The other one.
All right. So in simple terms, I will tell you that matter blew out of context.
Mm-hmm.
And it was for this simple reason. Many of the aspirants were mounting signs from last year. And they tried to justify what they're doing by using the Representation of the People's Act to say that they have a certain time before election to advertise, but that campaign period, and the courts will decide. So I don't really speak much to it because it is still undergoing judicial review. But it is as simple as this. They were putting up signs from last year. They reached the city center, and they started to encroach on our revenue areas. And we said, take them down. They did not. And we called them to a meeting. We had a discussion. A gentleman discussion with their lawyer and our team at the Municipal Corporation. We agreed that we're going to give you back the signs that we took down from the area, 6 signs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 signs. We're going to give them back to you. Do not put them back in these places. We will not take down any more signs, and we will not go into the communities and take down any more signs. They said that they have to put up them signs. They have to put them back up. And to this end...
Meaning they said that to your workers? Or they said that in a meeting with you?
They said that in the meeting, that they insisted that they want to put them back up.
In the revenue-generating areas.
In all the areas that we took them from, within that immediate environment.
Mm-hmm.
And even some on the fringe of the core of the city, we left those and did not trouble them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they left the meeting, they decided that they want to put them back up, and to put them back up, they need protection from the court, so they're going to go for an injunction. Now, the court ruled and said, all right, this is what is going to happen. The law is unclear pertaining to what is pending. So we're going to review this. We're going to come back to you. But in the meantime, here's an injunction to say this. Do not take down any more signs, Municipal Corporation.
Mm-hmm.
And you, the claimants, you have to pay if you are using the revenue-generating areas. Or
areas, right.
Yes.
And they decided to test...
Which sounds reasonable from the court.
Definitely reasonable, yes.
Right, so they decided to test or resolve again, and they went back to the revenue area. They affixed the sign to the revenue board, and to say that, listen, we can do anything that we want. We can put it up anywhere. We can break any rules. So we took it down. And this time, we took it down and we told them that if they want to use it, you must pay, just like from day one. Pay. And they went all the way until in the afternoon, and they decided to pay. And they finally paid, and the sign is there now. So if we had resolved that from day one, there would be no court, no meeting, no drama, no talk of democracy being violated, no talk about political victimization. But I believe it was necessary for them because it got them free advertisement.
That too, Mayor Vernon, indeed, because there's a lot that comes out of these discussions where persons who are not on the ground in the area will now hear about what is happening on one side or the other side, and it becomes a discussion on social media and elsewhere, which really is publicizing individuals and their own, their own move forward, because publicity is publicity.
And if you're told that you can't advertise in revenue generating areas reserved to generate revenue, you can and you should respect that. I know the matter is sub judice, Mayor, but when I first heard of it, there is one thing I commented on while hosting Cliff Hughes Online that if I had the opportunity to speak with you, I thought to myself, it's something I would ask you. That before taking the decision to remove the signs, I think you said you wrote in a clip I heard, you wrote to the ECJ for them to give you an opinion on the matter. But you took a decision to remove the signs before the ECJ got back to you. If my memory of what you said is accurate, I was a little curious as to why didn't you await the ECJ? I'd like to hear that if you can share.
I think if I should be very honest about that particular matter, it was a little bit up in the air at the time. The truth is that the Town and Country Planning Act is an act that is specific to advertisement control, and rightly so, it comes under the Town and Country Planning Act that deals with development control. And in development control, there are signs and all of those things that need to be managed. Now, talking to ECJ or EOJ on the matter, we are now just going to jump over to the Representation of the People's Act because that is what that's their Bible, that is what they subscribe to. And it was really up in the air. We were looking at all angles at the time. How do we deal with this particular matter at the time? Because pending is what was the big question. And that is what will be answered by the court. And moving forward at the end of the review, then Jamaica will know what pending is. Because the Town and Country Planning Act predates the Representation of the People's Act, yes. by years. We're talking about 1978 somewhere, and some parts of it 1958 and those things. So, and the Representation of the People's Act was amended in 2016 to cover campaign financing. And the campaign finance, it was tendered, the bill was tendered by Member of Parliament, Philip Powell, who was a minister at the time, 2015 going into 2016. And it dealt with campaign financing. It was made broader so that they could capture, leading up to an election, what is happening in terms of the financing, who is getting sponsorship, contracts, this, that. And we need you to declare all of that leading up to the announcement of the election. And that is what we call a campaign period. Now, they would argue that campaign period also is you're expecting campaign period signs to be erected. Now, when you start to erect signs, now you go over into the territory of the Town and Country Planning Act.
Yes.
And the Town and Country Planning Act is saying to us that election must be pending. Now, we were arguing that pending must be a known date because it could be pending forever. Meaning that after this election is called, whenever it is called this year, an election can be called any time after that. A by-election, a snap election, or the time can run out until the next 5 years. During that time, election can be any
You're
time.
saying that term pending, the term pending is up for in a lot of ways.
Pending is specific.
It's a specific term, but it's also interpreted. It can be interpreted in different ways, Mayor Vernon.
Right.
That's what, yes.
Help me here, Mayor. Pending is in the Town and Country or the ROPA. Where is that word pending? That I know a lot of these terms. Which one of the acts is that in?
Town and Country. So pending is in Town and Country.
So you're saying that's the reason why you decided not to await the response from the ECJ because it pertains to the Town and Country Planning Act and not ROPA.
Right. And not ROPA.
Mayor Vernon and Tyrone, and I think that moving towards the upcoming general elections, which we know are around the corner, I think because of the way that you seem to have kind of resolved payment for certain areas, the revenue generating areas, which are important because, of course, the municipality has to earn
revenue. Of course.
has to earn revenue. It's not just about being there; you have to earn
and
revenue. Yes,
local government financing is no joke,
I know. You have to earn revenue from different areas.
A lot of work local government is expected to do.
But also
we need
balancing,
to have more respect,
Yes, and balancing the different entities and individuals and groups who are in the municipalities.
But you see, this election is a little bit
intense. Intense.
Yes.
High stakes, Mayor Vernon. High stakes.
Yeah, I'm watching the space, and let me tell you, I'm seeing things that are crazy. I describe them as ridiculous, and sometimes they might even seem like nuisance. Because even today, we had a situation in Sam Sharp Square. Sam Sharp Square is a declared heritage site under the Jamaica National Heritage Trust.
Yes.
And there are pieces of Sam Sharp Square that are effigies. The cultural center, the cobblestone area, the fountain, the cage, the statues, and those stuff. What we have done, we have erected some stanchion in Sam Sharp Square that we used to we adorn them with the Jamaican colors when we move into the independence period, emancipation period, whichever civic period we're in, we adorn them with Jamaican colors. So we use them to mount flag and perhaps municipal colors when it is necessary. Now, they decided to go into those spaces and start to put up the flags in those stanchions that we built to hold the flag. And I'm saying that these persons are now being ridiculous. They went into the space, they went onto the palm trees, they started to put up signs on the palm tree, they put up flag on the palm tree, and say, like, this is ridiculous. What are you doing to this? What is this you're doing to the square?
At this point, Mayor, I heard one of your colleagues on the central government side talking about how all of this political paraphernalia, how it drives down people's property values. What is your overall take on the posting of signs and flags and these things? Do you think the space could be better off without them? Because I think it was the member for East Central St. Catherine, Alanda Turlang, hopefully I got his constituency correctly, saying these flags and all the various things with the colors, it reinforces this idea of garrison and garrison type politics, and we can do without it, was the argument I think he was making. What is your view on it? Do you think we should abandon this thing?
I could agree with that. And a matter of fact, I believe that the placement of signs must be much more orderly. I've seen it in other places where persons put up their nice little sign and then nail them into the sections along the community. Once you get the permission to put them in from the persons, especially if they're supporting you, you just nail those little signs along, just like I see the realtors do, and you advertise your thing.
Mayor Vernon, our political culture is heading in that direction, but it's not yet that refined.
Not right.
We are heading there, but we are not yet there. We still are seeing, and we will probably see for a little while, large flags and colors and all of that all over the place.
Perhaps we should think about banning them, I think is the argument, and allow individual homeowners to erect the signs of the people they support, as we see happening elsewhere. That wouldn't necessarily
Tyrone, refining and developing our democracy is we are far way ahead. And I'm listening to Mayor Vernon speak, and you can know that Mayor Vernon knows his business, knows communication, has his hands on the legislation, and is working in the municipality in a very professional and efficient manner to balance all that is happening there. But the political culture has gone a very far way, but we're going to have flags and people hanging out of buses. Trust and believe. Yes.
What I'll tell you,
yes.
I will tell you that you might not hear them, but you see the communities, they are not so much in agreement with what is happening,
We need to hear more from them, Mayor Vernon. We need to have more people from the communities, residents on the ground. Because when you take a step on your own, it's going to be seen as bipartisan, political. So the people of Jamaica, if they want something, they have to speak up and speak out. This is where we are now.
People call me all the time, oh, Mayor, you should do this, you should do that. I said that, the law says this, but it's against the norm. Exactly. And you go out on a limb by yourself. Nobody's out there to support you.
And when you go out on the limb, Mayor Vernon, they will throw you off in the water, deep water, and you alone drown, you know. Yes.
But Mayor, I'm also sure you're the good prof. Accept that everything requires leadership, right? I see Booker T on our YouTube channel says, give us your manifesto, not flags. Not you in particular, just a general comment. Give us your manifesto, not flags. As a push towards changing the political cultures process, I think it would go a far way to aid that process. Yeah, if we can make these zones of inclusion, and say, look, if the supporters of the various candidates and political parties want to erect their signs on their properties, let them do that. They're free to do that and keep the other zones free, the communal spaces free. And
the heritage spaces, like Sam Sharp Square, these spaces must be treated with respect, and we should ensure that they are kept free of political paraphernalia.
And it comes down to municipal management and the local laws that are designed to manage it, and oftentimes are overlooked by Parliament when they are doing review. And if you look at this specific situation, they amended a piece of legislation in 2016 that deals with campaign period and those stuff, with no consequential amendment to the Town and Country Planning Act to say fit this in because it has something to do with campaigns and elections and such. They probably didn't remember that it was there, So they went ahead and deal with this new piece of legislation, updated it, and then this one here from 1978 still untouched. And when it is not activated, they say, oh, now we have to interpret it.
We're going to have to let you go. But can I ask him this last one, Prof?
Yes.
Will you at some time in the near future?
Again?
Will you at some point in the near future, not the next election, which is due not too long from now, but let's say the one thereafter, will we be seeing you representing, bidding for a constituency and not just a division? Is that on the cards for you?
I'm not a clairvoyant, but at the moment I just want to focus on the city of Montego Bay. I have a lot of work to do here. And sometimes I pressure my administrative staff to get them done, but they have their support, and we want to get a lot of things done. We have the support of the business community in Montego Bay and the citizens in general, and we want to work together to ensure that we build one of the best cities, one of the safest cities in the Caribbean. And that is the goal for right now. What happens after that? Then let it be.
Let's see what happens, May. I'll be dropping on the city in a couple of weeks because Reggae Sumfest is on the table. Coming up. Yes.
Let's hope Prof doesn't bring any signs with him.
I will not bring any signs. Thank you, Maria Vernon.
Let me give you a quick news splash.
Yes.
We have another erupted main along the Rosal Main Road now. In the Hyatt area, the same one that erupted the last time. So we have two, one at the Coral Gardens area and one at Hyatt. So we are now working tirelessly to get back that to normalcy. The NWC has dispatched their team there just before I came on to the interview. I was speaking with them to ensure that everything is in place. We know that the residents, they are going to be a little bit inconvenienced, but we want to ensure that they get back to normalcy as soon as possible. They are our priority, and we have to ensure that we take care of them. At the same time, we have to also try as best as possible to be facilitating to our visitors that are coming for the conference. So we have a lot to work out for this weekend, but we are getting things together.
Thank you, Mayor Richard Vernon.
Richard Vernon. Yeah. Thank you very much,
so
Mayor
much.
Vernon.
Have a great weekend. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mayor Vernon. Thank you indeed, Tyrone.
We take a break or we take you
we go straight to the lines, We do go straight to the lines, right? Yes. Bugs is looking at me like, yes, we have to go straight to the lines, of course, man. Our call is 630-937-124, 618-8225. We are taking your calls. Good evening. Carl.
Good evening, Carl.
Carl. Hi, Carl.
Good evening, Tyrone.
My boss, Anglia Bank.
How you do?
Boy, if we are here making England point, you not even want to take a call from me, no idea, Tyrone.
I'm not making any English pounds, sir.
Is not pony making Tyrone?
No, not at all. All right. I don't understand where you get that from. Carl is a master of misinformation.
Anyhow, Tyrone, you didn't
yes, sir.
We didn't know we don't live 15 in Jamaica where our government can't give up 2 years for you not licensing your vehicle. and you pay one time to how the economy is running good. Government cannot give up revenue.
Are they giving up revenue though? Because I think you're paying. Because I mean, some of us would love to be able to do that because the vehicles stay good, you know. So we don't have to. No, Tyrone. I'm because a lot of people would want to be able to do that. You know, you do it one time. We take a lot of women take care of their vehicles. Ladies, hold up your hand where you are. We take care of vehicles.
Perhaps the vehicles stay good. I like it.
Set good like ice in a freezer. We take care of our vehicles. All my ladies, hold up your hand.
But Miss Hope,
Carl.
if you're license, you know, if you have a 2017, 2018 to 2019 vehicle, and you're on Tyrone can't afford to buy a newer vehicle.
Yes.
Once your license, say someone's your license 2020, you wouldn't be licensed until 2022.
God is good and we are grateful.
So we're having a for you to give up that revenue.
They're not going, Carl, they're not giving up the revenue, you know, they're collecting the revenue at a time.
I think there was a question raised in Parliament about how much revenue they'll give up. I don't remember what the response is, but Carl, let me tell you, it's a brilliant idea by the government. It will go a far way, and I did say that at the time when the announcement was made that it was a thinking person's budget. When I heard it, it will go a far way in reducing the misery index in the country, because one of the things that really get Jamaicans rattled, you know, is how much time we have to spend interfacing with these government agencies.
I mean, no, I have to be, no, but you know, Tyrone and Carl, I have to big up the people at the tax office now. My people at Crossroads, my people in Spanish Town, and my people at Constant Spring, those are the tax offices. We have to big them up because the service has improved significantly. We're doing things online, but we still would like to not have to spend all the time. We'll pay for everything. Maypen, yes.
Yeah, Maypen down here.
Yes.
Carl, it's a brilliant move by the Hollis administration, and I did big them up at the time for it. Absolutely brilliant. They need not to have to go in, you know, to renew when you have a brand new car. Like what really could be going wrong, unless the car mash up and it's probably still under warranty, right?
Exactly.
So, right. So I think it's actually a brilliant move. And whatever we're giving up, I'm sure it will be worth it.
It will definitely be worth it. Carl, we want to squeeze in somebody else now because we eat up a lot of time. Yes.
You notice everywhere Mr. Golden turn with a bad mind idea. He went to Portland. You hear what he called the school, the bus? Old bus. What a man, bad mind and grudgeful.
Carl,
you know,
we want to squeeze in somebody else.
Mind.
Yeah, but Carl, we're going to leave it there, Carl. We're going to leave it there, Carl. We're going to leave it. We're going to bring in Sharon. Sharon, come talk to me about your good car. Yes, Sharon.
Is Sharon or Errol?
Who is it? Karen? Errol. Oh, Errol, big up yourself. Sharon, the car good. Ed, you need to buy cars from me. My cars are perfect. Yes.
Good evening, Mr.
Oh, you do, my brother?
I'm good, brother. Bless up, my G.
You run out of time for me today.
Do you think, man?
Yeah, I hear me, Tyrone. We have a prime minister and we have an opposition leader. We have a prime minister who will go around, cut ribbon, open somewhere, start something. We have an opposition who will go around and just lie. We're sure them are the best one. Answer me, Tyrone, why you answer me this question here?
No, man. A problem you want to put me in there, man. This is where you. Yes, man. That's exactly what you're trying to do. They're already calling me labor rights, some of them, and some of them already calling me PMP, and you want me to take a side publicly. It's problem you want to put me in.
I want to call you labor right. Look here, man. I ask you a question. We're prime minister who walk around, cut ribbon. He must walk somewhere. He must start something, and we have an opposition who will go around and just bad mind to the country, lie to the people, lie. Which one doing something?
Edney, my vehicle always service on time, right at the dealer. Big up yourself, Ines. Yes, people talking about them car nice. Edney, you need to buy my vehicle.
No, sir, I'm not going there with you. You think me a press? You think me a press as Errol? Eh? Yeah.
Today, actually, they go open 60-odd million worth of water pipeline thing.
Yes.
You see that? Where the 45 million sparks program to fix road and thing, where them now see.
But them just are going and I say lie. But who
here's what I'll tell you, Errol, and I'll leave you with this, because we're going to take Mr. Grant after this. That I heard Cliff it was that says it's the first time in a very long time that, perhaps I'm not even sure if it's the first time in the history of the country, but it's rare that you have a government that can run on accomplishments and administration. And that is true. The Holiness Administration, even though they've made several missteps, they have some solid accomplishments on which to campaign. And in times past, we never really see that from government. So I'll give you that. That's as best as I'll give it as a critical assessment. Have a good one.
All right, Errol, you can get something. All right, Errol, yes. All right.
Mr. Grant.
Mr. Grant. Hi, Mr. Grant. How are you doing? Good evening.
Hi, Miss Hope. Mrs. Armis. Mr. Tyrone.
He's inquiring, Prof. He says, Mrs. or Miss.
My father's surname is Hope. I'm not married to my father. What kind of question is that?
He's inquiring.
I know.
He's seeing your picture on the YouTube, Prof.
We're talking about Jamaica and many things. Mr. Grant.
Yes, sir.
You need
yes, sir.
That lady is beside you. You need her beside you more time when you're working.
No,
that's
a wonderful lady. Wonderful, brilliant mind, beautiful, brilliant lady. Yes, sir, I agree.
I just love to listen to her.
Thank you, Mr.
Big
Grant.
up yourself, Mr. Hope.
Big up yourself.
Mr. Tyrone, I heard you.
Yes, sir.
I heard you this morning with Mr. Warmington and that lady that going up against Mr. Clive Green. You were trying to balance. What in that to balance? What do you see in that to balance? There are two clear distinctions in those incidents. How you get balance in that?
You want me to tell you?
Yeah, tell me. All
right. Mr. Warmington is wrong, and the Dr. Wellington is wrong.
Both of them. Yes, I don't agree with any of this.
So I mean, what did I say more than that this morning? And that they should do better, both of them.
What does that mean? Mr. Warmington has done what he has done, and he apologized. Him repented.
True.
You say
which I gave him credit for, but Mr. Warmington is warned to do this.
You should.
This is not his first infraction or his second time at the rodeo. This is a demonstrated behavior. It matters because it says it goes to the heart of the people that we offer for public office. It matters, sir. And we must demand better from those who offer themselves to lead us. We must demand better from them. Too much is given, much is required. And Mr. Warmington has too often failed the test. Now, Dr. Wellington has also failed the test, and she's just starting out at the gate. And where you may argue that it might be worse in this instance is that they've refused to apologize, and they're circling the wagon, even playing the gender card when there is no space or room at all to play the gender card. It's quite despicable, actually.
Yes, Mr. Tyrone, but you're talking about two different things here now. One has done and he apologized. He apologized, right? And whatever you're going to say about Mr. Warmington is not the first he has done things like this. I remember Mr. Foley sanctioned him for doing other things, and that's why the job that he used to do gone to Mr. Morgan now, right? So all the time, Mr. Owens take action. Mr. Owens take action. Mr. Golden don't take any action against his people, right? You must speak about these things like that.
I don't think that's accurate, though. I'm not sure. I don't think that's accurate. Didn't they recently remove some person from being head of some commission? I think it's one person. What's his name? Attorney at law running out in Portland. They're now preparing to run out in Portland. Didn't they remove him after he made some remarks about Paula Llewellyn? Wasn't he stripped of his functions within the PNP, Prof? If you can remember that one.
Yes, I remember. Yes, I'm trying to remember the actual person. But yes, we have been here. We have been having
human rights commission or something of the sort.
Yes, but I think though because Mr. Warmington did apologize. And again, there's people say it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. I'm not sure this applies, right? But so
that's what they say.
Yes, but again, Mr. That's just a part of it, of how we move politically in our culture or society. I'm not going to move back down from my political culture conversation, Tyrone, because we are seeing changes. It's going to be a process over time, because there are things that people accept, people agree with, people don't accept, people don't agree with, and people are asking for change, and we are seeing change moving along as a part of the process. And and
sometimes change is slow.
It is slow in some areas and in some instances, but we are seeing change, and I think yes.
And sometimes change is slow because of as you say, culture. It takes time for culture to change,
but
right?
it is changing.
We have to allow for that as well. Yes. But thank you, Mr. Grant. We have to take another one before we run. So have a great weekend.
Take care,
Julius,
Mr. Grant.
Good evening to you. You're up next.
Hi, Julius. Good evening.
Evening time. How are you?
Give thanks.
Good, Julius. Good to hear from you.
Miss Hope is still doing the party.
Mr. Julius. Oh, Julius, you're echoing, Julius.
Really?
Are you on speaker? Okay, Julius, you're a media man, you know better than that. How you do?
Looking, living, and learning.
All right.
Just trying to tell Angela not to worry and to hold on. Don't listen to the noise in the market. You have a lot of person out there who is going to do their thing, but they're not going to make the excitement like some people, understand? And when I talk about this politics, I don't talk like a activist or a diehard, whatever. I talk reality and natural thing, yeah? Hello?
Yes, we're hearing you, Julius, yes.
Yes. For example, we're going to look at a few little things. I don't know how the time is. But look at St. Thomas. Look at the road that was built out there. It wasn't done under Edison. It wasn't done under Bruce Collins. It wasn't done under PJ nor Portia. Although Portia and Bruce get a little time, yeah? But it was not done. It was not started. Nothing happened, yeah? Anja came and did it. Mandeville Lake there went open from Maple and go down. Very good help for the people. Turn them further.
Julius, can I say something about the roads? I remember sitting behind in a media house almost 20 years ago and seeing the plans for the entire road network that we now have in front of us. I'm just saying it to you. That plan was, almost 20 years ago. The entire road network that was there. So it was in place, and all of that was being put in place from then, and then it is being, operationalized, put into being over time. But this is something that has been planned for Jamaica for a very long time. That NROC company, that was a long time, not overnight. That was a plan that was in the making for a very long time. We have to give credit to everyone who was involved. Yes.
Fair enough.
Those who come after build on what those who went before them did, right? So you have to give credit. Absolutely.
The other thing that is happening now in the inner cities, now most of the, we refer to as the ghetto or the inner city, most of them are PNP, stronghold, And if you go inside there, lots of them become entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs again. It didn't happen under none of those persons who we spoke of before. You understand what I mean? Everybody have built, everybody have do this, everybody have them like a business, who run up in, restaurant or bar or this or that. Just go through them, go through Penang, go through Baku, go through Rima, go through anywhere you go through. You'll see something there, you understand?
And and Julius, we have to leave it there. We have to go to the wrap up because
thank you, Julius. Yes, have a good weekend.
Yes, indeed. And so we want to thank, because we have had a very robust set of discussions here this evening, Tyrone. You will agree?
Yes, indeed, we did. And it was great co-hosting with you for the first time, Pro.
Yes, indeed, because I've listened to you quite a bit, but we have never co-hosted together. So I want to thank you, of course, for sharing with me this evening. Thanking our producer, Sonia Stewart, the entire team that worked with us this evening, the news team and the sports team. And of course, our able man behind the glass, Bugs Andrew, for being with us.
Andrew Glenn Anderson.
Yes,
Andrew
man.
Bangle.
And of course, thanking our callers, all the persons who shared with us, and of course, our YouTubers, our listeners, nationwide 90 FM. And we continue, of course, the programming coming up at 8 p.m. Stay with us.